You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn. Since 1995, Alabama's sports talk leader, Tiger Communications, proudly presents Sports Call. It's time to join our Sports Call crew as they discuss the latest headlines and happenings around Auburn and the entire sports world. To be part of the show, give us a call at 334-887-3401 locally or toll free at 1-888-9-TIGER-9. We're taking phone calls all show long and want to talk about whatever you've got on your mind. And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show, Sports Call.
Welcome, Auburn, into the Thursday edition of Sports Call, live on Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. My name is Ryan Lavoie, the host of the program. Today, I'm joined by Jack Myrick and by Brooks Childress for all 3 hours as we talk about several things going on in the sports world, including we'll update you on Jackson Coyven at the Wyndham Championship, the final regular season tour event. He is right on the bubble in terms of making the FedEx Cup playoffs. We'll update you on how his trek through the Wyndham Championship is going so far. We'll, of course, update you on fall practice here in just a moment as the Tigers take the gridiron for the second time in the fall/summer. So they will continue to get their work in there. We'll continue to update you on all things going on there. We mentioned it yesterday, but there was a big-time rivalry renewed in the non-conference for college football. Southern Cal and Notre Dame renewing a rivalry here a few years down the road. We'll tell you the impact that also has on another key Power 4 program in terms of non-conference scheduling. And coming up on today's program, it is going to be South Carolina Day, number 11 in the preseason SEC media poll. We will preview the Gamecocks and tell you what their outlook is for the 2026 season. And, of course, if you want to give us a phone call to join us on the Sports Call phone line, 334-887-3401 locally, and toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9. And between all of that, a couple of quick press conferences to play for you today. We did not get to offensive coordinator Joel Gordon yesterday, so we'll play that for you. And plan on playing defensive coordinator DJ Durkin for you a little bit later today also. And again, welcome to our audience, whether you're listening or watching. Again, you can watch us on YouTube and Facebook at Sports Call Auburn as we continue our trek through that realm also. Ryan, Jack, and Brooks with you here this afternoon. Jack Myrick, how are you doing today, sir?
I am surviving, trying to make it to the Hall of Fame game tonight. Football is upon us. For the sickos that want to watch Carson Beck and Kenny Pickett battle it out for, what will be 4 quarters of football for some. But, I'm excited that we at least got preseason back, so that's exciting. We're just getting closer and closer. But, we'll be excited to watch that tonight and see all the players honored going into the Hall of Fame as well.
Yeah, Hall of Fame game tonight. And, kind of wish – I certainly understand, again, with the Hall of Fame induction and that sort of thing this weekend, but you get the one game and then you got to wait a full another week before you get more of the action. But you do have your first kind of organized game tonight in the preseason with the Panthers and Cardinals in that Hall of Fame game. Brooks Childress, how are you doing today?
Hey, I am doing fantastic. It is a wonderful, wonderful day here in East Central Alabama, and we are getting, as you mentioned, Jack, our first little nibble of football. Ball is back, and it's awesome to be hours away from the first live football action of the 2026-2027 NFL slate of I could say season, but it's
I think immediately as the game ends tonight, you need to release your power rankings for the NFL.
How will Carson Beck's performance affect them? Find out later. It's a game that you're not going to see any of the starters tonight for either of these teams. But it's still, you get your first taste of ball, and that's always a fantastic little appetizer before we get to college football later this month, the rest of the NFL preseason. I was talking, I was talking about I was on a show down in Mobile yesterday and was asked about my thoughts on the preseason when it comes to how you take it in. I'm like, well, it's nowhere near the regular season. Like regular season, you lock in on a Sunday, you get the Sunday ticket going, you get Red Zone going, and you're locked into everything that's going on in the NFL. Preseason, for at least for me, I'll lock in with the Hall of Fame game tonight. Not the full thing. I've got a dinner I've got to go to start with, but once I get home, I'll lock into whatever's left of it. I'll lock into all three of my Patriots preseason games to see what's going on there, and then a smattering of the others. I'm not going to go on and try to find every single game. I'm not, if there's a Friday night coming up here and you've got the Jags and the Raiders preseason matchup on the NFL Network, I'm not going to be like, oh, I got to get home and watch that. Now, if it was, Ohio versus Miami, Ohio college football, I would be all in. But it's, you take it in with, it's not like you lock in for it like the regular NFL stuff, but it's still fun to have ball back. The Braves still going strong, longest win streak of the year, which is why we were talking about it at lunch. I can't believe, how great of a start they had to the year. It's amazing that they've now gotten on their longest win streak here in August or in late July into August, when they had that such great start at the beginning of the year that they have now surpassed their longest win streak here after a disastrous June. So it's awesome that the Braves continue to win. Looking for a sweep against the Fishies tonight before they head to the Bronx for the weekend. And yeah, a lot of great stuff coming out of practice today. I know media that was there today got to chat with Byron Brown for the first time in fall camp, and first time we've heard from him since media days a few weeks ago. So that was it was great to get some of his comments 2 days in. And it feels like, we've talked about it in the last few days. It feels like the players are really buying into this. Hey, we're staying at this hotel and just locking in on ball for the next couple of weeks. I know there were some quotes from today's practice media stuff with the players that some of those players were, locked in. I've seen, I've honestly organically stumbled across a few players that have posted TikToks from their for the last few days.
Yeah,
and
somebody got an Xbox in there. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
They're playing college football, so
yeah.
in fairness, they were, studying up.
But it's it feels like everybody, all the players are locking in. Now we're 2 days in. I mean, by day 13, they may want to, kill each other for having to stay with each other the entire time. But it feels like everybody's locked in on that idea that Golish has done. So that's awesome. And yeah, it's gonna be a great show today. Can't wait to chat with you guys. Can't wait to chat with all of our callers, and I can't wait to hear how Ryan Lavoie's day is going.
It's been going pretty well, man. Just locking in on the golf. I know most people can lock in on the football, but I'm locked into Jackson Coyvin this week, and then just own personal golf, playing a lot, and caught a little shower earlier, but not a whole lot here. So just thinking about after the show activities too, real quickly. So yeah, no, I'm doing all right as we get closer to the weekend. We get closer to football. With the Hall of Fame game tonight, but also 30 days till Auburn takes the field against Baylor, 23 days till week 0, and we are getting there closer and closer. We count down the days, but let's get into it here on this Thursday. Again, fall practice number 2 for Auburn coming up or already done today. And the Tigers, again, just getting used to everything, and so not in pads. Going to get in pads, I think. Is it this weekend for the first time, or is it early next week?
I think it's Saturday.
Saturday. So not able to get in pads yet. Again, that's all the NCAA mandates and stuff. Not really anything special decision-wise going on from Auburn on that front. But one of the fun things from today is the media observed, I believe, Alex Golish doing some push-ups with the team. And he had a quote on that again, when Auburn receivers drop a pass, the whole team does push-ups. And if Coach Golish is in the area, he said he's going to do them with him. So be accountable, build trust on that type of thing. But again, just getting into it, good to see the guys on the field. And again, not going to figure out a whole lot of the position battles quite yet, just in these early moments of practice. But Again, the media windows are available now, and they're on the field and getting to see stuff for the first time here in the Alex Golesh era of the fall variety.
Yeah, it's we're in that exciting part where you're the first few days of practice, you're getting all the clips from the media availability and what Auburn puts out with their highlight videos and stuff. And you get to see some of the clips from it. You get excited, but here over the next day or so, once we get our initial fill of the clips, it's then going to turn to, and we mentioned this I think last week when we were talking about getting ready for fall camp. Once we get our a couple days in where it's like, all right, we've gotten the clips, then we start to look for what day are they going to drop that first depth chart, and what day are we going to look at it. And we mentioned on the program the thousands of oars that we've seen on a depth chart for Auburn before, and it's not because PJ Fleck was ever the head coach, row the boat, but it's going to be interesting to see. Then you that at that point, Ryan, you mentioned figuring out those positions. That's when you start to figure out who's going to be in what position, everything. But it feels like there's a good energy. It feels like that this team's excited. The coaching staff is excited about this opportunity now. And, we've talked about it when we've ventured into recruiting over the summer. Once you get to the season, once you start the rubber hits the road, you get punched in the mouth, then you see where this team is. It's all, it's going to be all high and, good vibes and everything and practice and whatnot as you're going to a season, because you're excited, you're getting ready for a new era. Once that first punch in the mouth comes, whether it be Baylor, whether it be a few weeks down the road when you get to that Florida game, whether it be, Southern Miss comes in and scores first on you in that home opener, you never know what can happen. That's when you're really going to see where the team gets. But first few days of fall camp, it really feels like everybody's starting to gel early, and it feels like the vibes are high. You mentioned the clips of Alex Golesh doing the push-ups with the receivers. Hopefully he doesn't do too many push-ups in fall camp, because that means if he does too many, that means they're dropping too many balls out there. So hopefully he is he is doing just enough to stay fit, but not overly losing weight on those push-ups.
Yeah, it's always fun to see just, I guess, his energy around the team, and you get to see the kind of the camaraderie that's being built up in this program right now. And I don't know about you guys. For me, it seems like I've seen a lot more this offseason than I have the last few years, where I'm seeing the team interact with each other a lot. The team has been going to places a lot, going to dinners a lot, going, to go do activities together. It seems like they're very united in this mission to really get back on track, have Auburn back to, a winning way, but to what it used to be, because it's been, since 2019 since the last bowl win or so. So Auburn's just got to get right back on track. But yeah, it's just been cool to see that. I don't know about you, Brooks, if you've really seen more of that, if that just might be me, but I think that it shows that there's something that's definitely changed within those doors.
Yeah, I mean, it's a new energy. I think that anytime you get a new coach in and you feel that energy, it's just it's a shot in the arm. It's a steroid shot to the energy, and so I think it's it's awesome. And like I said, it's great, and hopefully it stays great for most of the year, because that means Auburn's doing a lot of good things. But when that first punch comes, how does this team react? That's going to be a very, very important thing we see going once we get into that season.
Sure. And then, obviously too, the PSA that I give from time to time, where, most things in fall practice are still generally positive, and that would be that way around the country. And at this time, I probably think 90% plus of programs are starting to get optimistic, get excited, obviously, good things being said, improvements being made, this, that, and the other thing. And, it does not translate for 90% of the schools. It translates for far fewer amount than that. But, again, I do think that when you have something new, you got the new coach and you have new ideas and new expectations, and just being able to compare and contrast things from previous head coaches, you do kind of get that sense of excitement that, it will be different because this, that, and the other thing is different. And, again, we have talked about the staying in Opelika part, and, while you can't make people like each other, but you can try to get them to see eye and eye, and again focus on something in particular. And I feel that they're doing that. And then again, as you guys have said, the video so far does not seem like they were having a bad time whatsoever. Again, will they get a little bit tired of it by day 11, 12? Maybe, but right now they seem very locked into what they're doing too. Let's grab a quick phone call, then we'll get our first break of the show. 334-887-3401 locally, or toll free 1-888-9-TIGER-9, leading us off today.
Die Hard Die.
Die Hard Die joins us. Die Hard Die, how are you today?
Hey, where we go? I'll try to make this quick. You guys got a break coming up. I like how you're saying once they get punched in the face, because I know I called a while up how, everyone's optimistic right now. But I will say I'm watching videos, and they seem to be super hyped up, which I always say my rugby team, which won the SEC and when playing the Nationals, was because we cared for each other so much. I don't know if we were good athletes, but we were brothers, and that took us to where we went. So if they're getting that, that's going to help out a lot. But I don't know if it's fake. I mean, I think it's so different. I really think they had a marketing meeting and they're like, hey, you guys get paid a lot of money. We're going to put the cameras on you. I want y'all to be, actors. I think that's what's going on. If it's not, then something special could be happening. I mean, that's the two branches that what I'm seeing. So I just don't know which one it is. But what's frustrating is people are talking like, are we going to beat Baylor? Are we going to beat Southern Miss? When I see Georgia and Alabama, like, oh, win. They're both going to go 10-2 undefeated. And I know one thing as a gambler, nothing ever goes the way it's predicted. So, it used to be the day when Auburn was going to have a bad season. That's when we have a great season, and Alabama was supposed to go undefeated, and they would, lose a home wrecker. So what is making people say Alabama's going to do so good? I don't know too much about the quarterback, and also is Georgia the same quarterback from last year? I thought our defense is relatively staying the same, which was a stud defense, and we have a QB that I don't think can throw much, but I think he's the best QB we've had in a couple of years, where he's going to get that first down instead of get 2 and 13. We'll get 2 and 3rd, and then he'll get us the first down. So I don't think he's going to win a Heisman, but I think we're going to be better this year than last year. And again, with the bad calls and bad breaks, we could have had an amazing season, ironically. So I just don't get why we're getting so much hate, and Alabama and Georgia are getting undefeated 10-2 seasons. Can you kind of just fill me in with the quarterback or key players that
Sure.
that having the experts at? Thanks.
Yeah, War Eagle, that is Die Hard Die, joining us on the Sports Call phone line. Yeah, first with Georgia. Look, I think that part of that is the Kirby Smart reliability tax, where there's a certain level that his team has just not dropped down to, and really since he got the thing going almost a decade ago now. And individual parts of the team vary, and I think that they still out wide, especially on offense at wide receiver. I think they're a little underwhelming, but they do have Gunnar Stockton back. He was quarterback last year. I think that, again, in pro-style offenses these days, especially in college, I think some people maybe don't appreciate guys that run those offenses well. I think Gunnar runs the offense well, and I think that he's had some very key moments for them. He's not going to throw for 350 a game, because that's not how the offense is built, but he's effective in that. And the other piece with Georgia, just practically speaking, is that, part of it is their schedule is one of the easiest, if not the easiest in the league. And there's some years that's true, some years it's not. But this year, they don't have a huge out of conference game. They play just Georgia Tech, obviously, who has challenged them greatly the last couple of years, but not broken through. Schedule wise for them, they have, I think we counted like 3 games where we can fathom them losing. Again, and you're absolutely right. Die Hard Die. Obviously, some things in sports in general, and especially college sports, are completely unforeseen, and never saw that coming. But SEC wise for them, they play Arkansas, who should be the worst in the league. They host Oklahoma. That one's more challenging. They host Vandy. We can't really see that one happening. go to Alabama. That's a big one. Host Auburn. Again, Auburn's had no fun in Athens for a long time. They play Florida. I would be surprised if Florida was incredibly improved this year. Go to Ole Miss. That one's tough. But then host Missouri, at South Carolina, who could be Shane Beamer's last leg. And then, like I said, the Georgia Tech game. So it just seems like there's just not many teams that they play that's in their category. They don't play Texas, they don't play LSU, they don't play Texas A&M. Some of the top teams that we perceive in this league, they just don't play, and it works out that way sometimes, and worked out that way for them. As far as Alabama, real quickly, their quarterback discussion continues. Austin Mack and Keelan Russell. Russell was a 5-star, can't miss, top 2 or 3 quarterback in the country. I think he might have even been number 1 in that class. So he's trying to win the job from Austin Mack, who was the backup last year, and Keelan was also on the team last year. He was just technically 3rd string. So, I think that, ultimately it will be Russell's, and then people get really excited about the 5-star dynamic of it. That's just the second year on campus. I think realistically, though, when you look at Bama's team, I think that they are pretty strong defensively, especially in the secondary. I mean, they've got multiple first and second team all SEC guys. Bray Hubbard is back, and he is tremendous. And they'll have several. I'm trying to think of all the Keon Sabb, and I think there's one more that made that's even better than Sabb. I'm trying to think who it was that made all SEC team, but they've got at least 3 all SEC defensive backs. They still have a lot of talent. They may not be recruiting great this cycle actively, but they still have Zabian Brown's the other name I'm looking for. But they've got a lot of talent across the board. Their schedule is more Auburn-like in that September far easier than October. October's the month kind of decision, and then November a little bit easier, minus the LSU game. But in October, after Mississippi State, they've got Georgia, at Tennessee, host A&M, and then the bye week, and then at LSU. So again, I'm not putting Bama in the 12-0 watch category. I do think that 10-2 number is very, very doable for them. I think they're either 9-3 or 10-2 probably. I do think Georgia's probably 11-1 ish. And so, yeah, I kind of am with the general sentiment on those two. But again, I think that, Georgia, you're just looking at stability for a long period of time. And again, still really good roster. And then Alabama still has a bunch of good players. And again, I think defensively, they will be good for sure. You just want to see what the quarterback play is, because they ran the ball terribly last year. They were awful at that. And you want to see if Ryan Coleman Williams returns to form, that sort of thing. So that's kind of the reasoning why they're still ranked very highly. I think Bama was only picked, though. They picked 5th in the SEC. Was that what it was?
I got their 6th, somewhere around that area.
So to be fair, I think general sentiment is a little torn on them. But yeah, Georgia picked to win the league, still kind of just being the consistent old reliable who, gets to the quarterfinal last year and gets knocked out by Ole Miss, but again did have another SEC championship. So again, to be fair, they continue to prove it year in, year out. Hopefully Auburn can get to that point. Got to build it, though. All right, let's take our first time out here of the 3 o'clock hour. When we come back, we'll get to some more phone calls. We'll talk much more about the world of college football as we get closer and closer to the season beginning. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
The Sports Call crew wants to hear from you. Give us a phone call at 334-887-3401.
Weather brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. Tiger Rewards checking at Auburn University Credit Union gives you the tools to manage your credit, monitor for fraud, telehealth services, loan discounts, and more. Visit myaucu.org for more details. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Highs today will make it to right around the 90-degree mark. We will see plentiful sunshine early. Scattered showers and thunderstorms entering the area in the afternoon hours. About 40% of the area seeing some rain. Lows will drop into the low 70s. Much of the same for Friday with a bit smaller coverage area of those afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Highs again around the 90-degree mark. About a quarter of the area seeing some precipitation and lows into the low 70s. I'm Ryan Lavoie for your Tiger Communications weather update.
At Mid-South Bank, our banking philosophy is family comes first. You see, we're more than a safe place to put your money or get a loan. We're a place for you to put your trust. No matter what your financial needs, you'll come first every step of the way. Come in today at 519 East Glen Avenue or visit bankmidsouth.com to find out what the friendliest, most helpful bank in town can do for you. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
It's heating up at Suns Ford in Auburn with the hottest sale of the year. Now's the time to save big on a huge selection of new Ford trucks, SUVs, and cars. Whether you're looking for a rugged F-150, a family-friendly Explorer, or a fuel-efficient Escape, you'll find incredible deals waiting for you. Don't let these summer savings pass you by. Visit Suns Ford in Auburn today or shop online at sunsford.com and pick the Ford you've been wanting at a price you'll love. Suns Ford in Auburn, where the hottest deals of the year are happening now.
Some beers are made to blend in. Blue Moon Belgian White was brewed to stand out. Crafted with Valencia orange peel for a bright citrus taste and a smooth, refreshing finish, it's the perfect way to elevate any occasion. Served best with an orange garnish, every sip brings out its signature flavor. Whether you're unwinding after work or gathering with friends, reach for something a little brighter. Blue Moon Belgian White. Made brighter, please enjoy responsibly.
TK's Convenience Stores are your one-stop shop from Auburn to the Lake and Tallahassee to Tuskegee. Offering friendly service and a clean environment, there is sure to be a TK's located near you. Stop by on your way to and from work or school and pick up everything you need, from beer, soft drinks, and fresh hot coffee to food, snacks, and ice cream. Plus, automotive and household products, pet food, and an ATM in every store. Just look for the orange and blue Starburst sign and stop by your local TK store today. TK's Convenience Stores, they're your one-stop shop.
Want more Sports Call? Check us out online at sportscallauburn.com.
Welcome back. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Brian Lavoie, Jack Myrick, and Brooks Childress with you here today.
Heyo.
A shout out to JJ Jackson, who is helping us run the stream today. Again, you can watch us at Sports Call Auburn there on Twitter, or not on Twitter, on Facebook and on YouTube. And we'll have more polls, though, on the Twitter side of things with each and every team that we've been talking about during the show and asking you what you think their win total will be. And so we will put that South Carolina one out a little bit later today because that's who we will be covering towards the end of the program. But let's get to our next phone call now, 334-887-3401 locally or toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9. Up next,
James from Montgomery.
James joins us. James, how are you doing today?
I'm good, and War Eagle.
War Eagle.
Yeah, I know that you're all going to be covering South Carolina, and I will actually have to say that South Carolina is not going to have a winning season this year as well for the 2026 season.
Yeah, very possible. A lot of different outcomes possible in Columbia this year, and again, they are picked 11th in the SEC, so a little bit unsure on which direction the program will go this year.
Yes, as well, because I know South Carolina, I don't see them actually making it to a playoff or a national championship this year, because I think South Carolina, I might be wrong on this one, but I have to see when was the last time that South Carolina ever won a national championship, and I don't know what the records might say when I actually research that as well.
Yeah, they've certainly not made the playoff. Again, they've struggled to have any ranked seasons. They had a lot of really good teams with Steve Spurrier that would have made a 12-team playoff, but obviously did not. So yeah, I mean, again, they have not really had the national success at all as a program historically.
Yes, as well, because I mean their schedule is kind of it's not looking like the schedule that South Carolina fans are looking for, because I know that South Carolina will be playing Alabama this year, but do you think that South Carolina might have a huge chance against Alabama this year?
I wouldn't bet on it. Again, South Carolina has traditionally been outmatched, and that one is going to be in Tuscaloosa. So I do not like their chances in that one. They do have some winnable games otherwise in their schedule. They do play Mississippi State, Kentucky, and Arkansas, that sort of thing. But the Alabama one is one of the most difficult.
Yes, as well, because I know I was looking through my Instagram, and I know that people were actually trying to do like the college football predictions on different games. And I know that I know that somebody was talking about Alabama, and they were actually saying like, what games will Alabama win? They'll win their first game against Eastern Carolina. That's going to be a loss. Against Kentucky, that's going to be a loss. I mean, Alabama's schedule is all going to be losses except for that one game, and I think that would be the Iron Bowl, so that would be like a tie game. So it'll go like back and forth as well, because I know it's a big game here in Tuscaloosa as well.
Again, Alabama will not go winless. They're going to win a bunch of games, but and also cannot tie a game. But they will. A lot of people are interested to see if they will take some more losses this year. They obviously just made the playoff last year, went 10-3 after losing the SEC title game. But again, they're obviously not where they were a few years ago. Still a lot of debate on which way they'll head also. But they'll still be very competitive regardless whether they end up being a playoff caliber team or just short of that.
Yes, as well, because I know with a lot of fans here in Tuscaloosa, I know that they always bring up how many wins they won, how many Alabama wins they've actually won during the football season. And if you look at their season's record, I mean, some of them are actual legit seasons, and then some of them are correct seasons, and then some of them are incorrect seasons as well. But it depends on what years you're actually looking at it from an Alabama fan perspective as well.
What else do you have on your mind today?
Well, I'm actually covering the NFL Hall of Fame game, and I'm actually ready for it, and it's actually going to look good. And I'm just going to see how this game is going to play out, and seeing what players I'm actually going to pick for my fantasy roster this year.
Yeah, again, excited to have an NFL game tonight. They will be playing pretty much all backups between the two, but it will be good to see them out there. And I know you've been looking forward to this game for a while.
Yes, as well, because this is actually my favorite thing that I mark on the calendar every August, because it's interesting to me to actually get to see the Hall of Fame game, and getting to see some of the guys on Saturday being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and seeing what it's really like as well as a NFL football fan as well as indeed.
Yeah, no, certainly always love football season to arrive, and this marks the ability to get these teams back on the field, and we are about a month away from the season, so we're all excited about it.
Yes, as well. And then did you all actually see something that went viral through the internet with Kelsey Plum, and when they were actually playing in Atlanta, how she was trying to I guess one of her players were trying to pass her the ball, and she stepped out of bounds on one of the coaches for the Atlanta Dream, and he caught her, and that is like going viral now, and it's really it was really funny to actually see something like that as well.
Yeah, I can't say that I saw it, but yeah, that's always the ability to go viral is not bound to any one sport, and I obviously again didn't see the video, but yeah, Kelsey Plum, heck of a player, and WNBA kind of one of the main things going on right now as we wait for football season.
Yes, as well, because it's when the NFL football season actually starts, I know that the WNBA season is actually coming to an end because they're getting close to the playoffs. So it's actually going to start sometime real soon. So after the WNBA season is over, then they have to look for the 2027 WNBA draft, which will be next year as well, and seeing what's going to look like, what is going to look like during the off season for the WNBA when that time actually comes.
Yep, but still got a few more weeks of regular season ball, so we'll see how that translates as we get close to the postseason. Any final thoughts for us today, James? Before we let you go?
The only final thoughts I actually have is I have a big score prediction for tonight's game. I actually have the Arizona Cardinals 38, Carolina Panthers 28.
38-28. All right, we'll see what happens.
All right, sounds good. I'll talk to y'all guys tomorrow. War Eagle.
War Eagle. That is James from Montgomery joining us on the Sports Call phone line. All right, before we take our next time out of the program, let's make sure we get in the Waldo's Chicken and Beer birthdays in sports.
It's time for today's birthdays in sports.
All right, today on the Waldo's Chicken and Beer birthdays, Jimmy Green is 57, who had a standout golf career at Auburn.
War Eagle.
Playing for the Tigers, he established himself as one of the program's top competitors, securing 6 individual tournament victories, including medalist honors at the 1991 SEC Championship. His success earned him All-American honors and 3-time All-SEC accolades. Green turned pro in 1992 and accomplished competed across multiple professional tours, including the Nike Tour and PGA Tour. He captured a professional victory at the 1996 Nike Buffalo Open and earned full PGA Tour privileges for several seasons, including a career-best PGA Tour finish with a tie for 4th at the 2000 AT&T Pebble Beach National Pro-Am. Jimmy Green is 57 today.
I can think of worse places to have your best performance than Pebble Beach.
That is one of the very best, because I don't know if he played in majors or not, but just talking regular tour events, Pebble's one of the very best venues you go to. Kareem Hunt is 31, an NFL running back known for his physical running style, vision, playing college football at Toledo.
Go Rockets!
He set the school all-time rushing record, being selected by the Kansas City Chiefs in the 3rd round of the 2017 draft. He took the league by storm as a rookie, winning NFL rushing title with 1,327 yards and earning a Pro Bowl selection. Later joined the Cleveland Browns in 2019, forming one of the NFL's most effective rushing duos alongside of Nick Chubb for 5 seasons. Known for his yards after contact ability, he's accumulated over 4,400 rushing yards and 50 total touchdowns. Kareem Hunt is 31 today. Trey Mason is 33, dynamic running back who, of course, attended Auburn.
War Eagle.
Playing for the Tigers from 2011 to 2013, spearheaded Auburn's run to the BCS National Championship game in 2013. During that legendary junior campaign, he rushed for over 1,800 yards and 23 touchdowns, earning SEC Offensive Player of the Year honors, consensus All-American selection, and a spot as a Heisman Trophy finalist. Selected by the St. Louis Rams in the 3rd round of the 2014 draft, had 765 rushing yards as a rookie with 4 touchdowns. Over his 2-year career, he had 972 rushing yards, 6 touchdowns, and 233 receiving yards. Trey Mason is 33 today. And David Robinson is 61, the Admiral, one of the most complete and dominant centers in NBA history. Had an extraordinary collegiate career at Navy.
Go Ships.
In 2 years of active duty in the U.S. Navy, he then joined the San Antonio Spurs in 1989, made an immediate impact, winning the 1990 NBA Rookie of the Year. Spent 14-year career entirely in San Antonio, with 10 All-Star selections and the 1992 Defensive Player of the Year award. He's also the 1995 NBA MVP. Won 2 championships with the Spurs in 99 and 03. A member of the iconic 1992 Dream Team. A 2-time Olympic gold medalist and Hall of Fame inductee. He finished with over 20,000 points, 10,000 rebounds, and nearly 3,000 blocks. The Admiral, David Robinson, is 61 today. And those are the Waldo's Chicken and Beer birthdays in sports. David Robinson, 61. Trey Mason, 33. Kareem Hunt, 31. And Jimmy Green, 57. We're going to take one more timeout this hour. Back with much more on Sports Call on this Thursday, Tiger 95.9.
Stay tuned. You're listening to the multi-time Abby Award-winning Sports Call.
Hey everybody, this is Brandon Maxwell with Fairway Auto Brokers. Back to school deals are here and you deserve a new ride. With over 150 of the finest pre-owned vehicles in stock, we make car buying fun and easy for the whole family. As Lee County's #1 place to buy a pre-owned vehicle, come see why Fairway is the difference. Visit us at www.fab-auto.com or stop by today at 1777 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Alabama.
The Auburn Area Community Theater will kick off its 2026 to 2027 season August 7th to the 16th with The Spitfire Grill, a heartwarming American musical based on the 1996 film of the same name. Known for its rich folk and Americana sound, the musical's score has been described by reviewers as infectious and simply astonishing. Performances of The Spitfire Grill will take place at the Jan Dempsey Community Arts Center in Auburn. Tickets are available at auburnact.org and at the door. Ticket prices are $16 for adults and $14 for students and seniors. Join the Auburn Area Community Theater for this fun show to open the new season. It's The Spitfire Grill, August 7th through the 16th.
Looking for the perfect lunch or dinner? Make it easy and delicious with Honey Baked Ham. Enjoy savory crafted sandwiches like the Ham Classic, Barbecue Smoked Stacker, or the Tavern Club, as well as a variety of fresh, crisp, delicious salads. Every bite is a taste of quality at Honey Baked Ham Company. Whether it's a leisurely lunch or something quick for dinner, Honey Baked Ham has you covered. Stop by the Honey Baked Ham Company and get your ham on. Honey Baked Ham, located at 1451 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
Ham bone, ham bone, ham bone.
We all know Jimmy's Car Stereo in Auburn has you covered when it comes to car stereos, accessories, and expert installation. But did you know Jimmy's is also your go-to spot for ATV and UTV gear? They've got 32-inch sassies, 3,500, 4,500, and 6,000-pound winches, belts, lighting, whips, laser lights, side mirrors, bumpers, phone holders, and rear mirrors. So whether you're upgrading your ride, decking out your ATV or UTV, or adding audio to your boat, Jimmy's has the gear and the know-how to make it happen. Jimmy's Car Stereo in Auburn. If it rolls, rides, or floats, Jimmy's makes it sound better.
I'm Britt Bowen, voice of Auburn women's basketball and Auburn softball. You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Welcome back. Final segment of hour number one. This is Sports Call on a Thursday, Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, the Tiger Communications app, and streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at Sports Call Auburn. All right, let's update the golf, shall we? The Wyndham Championship taking place in Greensboro.
Update: Spieth was not happy with his putting,
and normally he's not, and that has continued. Want to update, of course, though, Jackson Coyven first, hanging in there, 2 under par today through 14 holes. Some tournaments, 2 under is doing more than hanging in there, but again, this is another one of those tournaments where par is not a good score, quite frankly. You must shoot several under par. Jackson at 2 under is only tied 45th, if that gives you any perspective. The leader, Bo Hostler, shot 9 under. There's a couple at 7, several at 6, and then the list goes on and on from there. So Coyven's got a few more holes, but I do recommend getting another shot or two. They showed earlier, really when they came on the TV, wasn't about an hour and a half ago now, that Coyven was projected to miss the top 70 where he stood at that time, where everyone else stood. He came into today 70th in the FedEx Cup rankings, and that's exactly how many make it. There used to be 4 tournaments in the FedEx Cup playoffs, and it used to be top 100. And if you're top, if you're 70th coming in this, quite frankly, you wouldn't have even had to play this. You would have made that. There's not 30 people jumping you in one week. And so they, one of the changes a couple of years ago, they shortened this thing back down to 3 tournaments in the FedEx Cup playoffs, and I think the cut is 70, 50, 30. And so you got to be top 70. He was projected 73, but again, that was when he was 1 under, so I don't know what his current projection is at 2 under, but I imagine just 1 shot, even though it moved him up 15 spots. Didn't help a lot, because if you don't know how they do it, very few points are awarded in the FedEx Cup outside of the top 10 for regular season events. So there are points, but there's not a ton of movement if you're just simply 45th versus 60th. Now, if you're 12th versus 60th, maybe enough, depending on how others are doing. But the moral of the story is we're going to be on Coyven watch all weekend, because, again, it is not a guarantee he ends up in the FedEx Cup playoffs. And whether he does or doesn't, let me also say this. This has been a clear goal to point to try to make it. It does not define whether this has been a successful summer for Jackson Coyven at the PGA Tour. Winning an event already made it a wild success for Coyven.
The fact that we were having these conversations after he's been in for this is his 5th tournament. Like, the fact that he's this young into his professional career, and we're having these conversations of making the PGA Tour playoffs. It's just it's been a meteoric rise very quickly into the professional golf world for Coyven. And it just makes you, if you're a golf fan watching this young talent, but also if you're an Auburn fan that really hasn't been into golf, and unless there's been an Auburn guy that has been having success, it makes you excited for next year. It makes you excited for the next PGA Tour season to see what he can do with a full season in his ahead of him, and see what type of performances he can have. And it's awesome. It gives everybody something to look forward to with him going forward.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And looks like there's a huge backup on maybe the 15th tee. It looks like there's like 2 groups hanging out. I will tell you this, even though it's been a while, but I was on the golf team in high school and competed in the at that point the PGA Dixie Junior Tour. I think that's like the Northwest Tour now. I don't know even what it's called now, but it would be very annoying if you ever had to wait for a few minutes on the tee. You come off a good hole. Now, sometimes it's a good reset if you've played a few bad holes in a row, but you wait on that tee 10 or 15 minutes, you get pretty antsy. So 2 groups being backed up onto that is something else. But I think that with what Jackson's doing too, the visibility of the program so high, right? Like we were talking the other day, Auburn getting one of the very top recruits for the 2028 recruiting class in golf, and yes, they have begun to, they rank recruits and that sort of thing, and really all the sports now. And, Auburn is trying to make it a very sustainable and great program beyond just of, the greatness of Jackson Coyven. And it's had moments. And as you mentioned, it's produced PGA Tour golfers. Heck, we wish one happy birthday today. But, Jackson has a capacity to be far greater than really the rest of the combined Auburn exploits on the PGA Tour. And I mean, they're already talking President's Cup team with the kid. And you mentioned how few tournaments he's played. I mean, President's Cup means you're one of the 10 to 12 best golfers at the United States has to offer, period. And again, he's been pro for, a month or two. And that just does not happen in very many sports. You might see that with like an NFL running back. Somebody gets going quickly, and because of the lack of longevity, maybe you say that, those guys elevate themselves quicker than others. But there's very few sports where you just walk on and you're already considered one of the 10 or 12 best from your country. And that's kind of where he's at right now. So, again, Wyndham Championship in Greensboro. They'll have the FedEx Cup playoffs over the next few weeks after that. And he is on the 15th hole right now, 2 under par. They have shown him a ton today. If you are interested, flip over to Golf Channel because they've shown most of his shots. The 15th is a par 5, so that's a really good birdie opportunity hole for him. But yeah, and it's also coincided, guys, with, again, my obsession over golf that I've been playing the last 3 months out the yin yang, and just trying to be more active and be out there a lot. And it's really come at a great time to be following Jackson as he goes through this and tries to be a really, really quality pro. And Brooks, we need to get you back out on the course at some point.
Here's the thing: is I'm extremely busy. Extremely busy person.
I'm not. I have all the time.
I've got so much on my plate, and I just need to carve out some time because we're about to get back to the point where it's football season again, and I'm not going to have any weekends to go out there. It's, you could say, well, you can go out there when it gets colder. Have you ever played golf in the cold? It's not fun.
No, it's fun. No.
I'll say this. I think, me and Tom are on the same trajectory of we like it a little bit, like the weather a little bit cool on the cooler side. I'm not as gung ho on the being frigid outside, but cooler. I like the good fall. I like a good mild winter with good temperatures. I would rather play golf in 98 degrees than 50 or below. It's 50, 60 or below. And one time I went out to play golf. I think it was mid-January, and it was just an afternoon. I'm like, I'm going to go play 9, or I'm going to go play. I'll play 9, and then I'll see if I want to play another 9. Into the first 9, I was like, yeah, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
It's
did not
fun.
want to play another 9.
Nope.
For sure.
It's not fun when you get out there and the wind's whipping around.
It's a shame because, when you walk the course, because that's been my whole thing is I've been walking, and it is 90 plus degrees. You're not eager for 18 holes because of the weather, because it is just going to get to you a lot. You have to stay well hydrated, but the conditions are great.
Yeah.
The golf conditions, obviously, I don't need to break any news, much better when it is warm. The ball flies a little further. Sometimes if it's dry, the greens get too firm for those that really want it to stop the greens, but that means fairways roll out, whatever. When it's cold, the ball doesn't fly as far, and certain shots are not fun to hit, and then you get wind as you're saying, and it's very cold, and so then you're like, man, I don't want to stay out here because I'm too cold. So there's not really much of a happy medium. I'm going to have to report back to you though, because I'm not going to stop playing.
Fair.
Taking hold of this momentum, and I'm going to keep playing in the winter, although it'll be more sparse than it is now because now it's every other day. But this is the time to do that, and also it's the time to do that before football gets going, because then you're going to have weekends that are unavailable if you're watching your favorite college and pro team. All right, we are out of time for hour number one of the program. Coming up in the second hour, you're going to hear from offensive coordinator Joel Gordon. He spoke to the media earlier this week. We're also going to get into the big-time scheduling news in college football, a rivalry being renewed and what it means for a few of the power conference teams. A little bit later, trying to get you the DJ Durkin audio, and 5 o'clock hour, we're going to preview South Carolina football in 2026. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
One hour of our show is in the books. We've got more to come. Stay tuned for another hour of Sports Call right after the break.
Looking for a new fitness home? Look no further than Tiger Iron Gym in Auburn. Our fitness area spans over 20,000 square feet, providing ample space for all your workout needs. Featuring an AstroTurf training area, an extensive range of cardio equipment that will get your heart pumping, and we are one of the largest 24-hour free weight gyms in America. Worried about parking? Don't. We have you covered with tons of parking spaces so you can focus on your workout. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to fit your busy schedule. Plus, we're locally owned and operated, not some big corporate gym. And you can experience all of this for just $29.99 a month with no contract. Join us today and take charge of your fitness goals. Tiger Iron Gym, South College Street in Auburn. Looking to put the cherry on top of the perfect meal? Honey Baked Ham in Opelika has you covered with desserts that are almost too good to share. From our rich cinnamon and blueberry coffee cakes to southern pecan, apple caramel walnut, and more, our pies are pure comfort in every bite. And if cakes are your thing, we've got coconut, triple chocolate, and of course, a classic red velvet that'll make you wish every day was dessert day. There's no better way to finish your meal than with a sweet treat from Honey Baked Ham. Come get yours today, located at 1451 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
Looking for great deals while supporting a great cause? Visit Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, conveniently located on East University behind Zaxby's. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 5 with a huge selection of furniture, clothing for the whole family, books, home decor, and so much more. Have items to donate? We'll gladly accept donations at the back of the store from 10 until 4. Shop, donate, and make a difference at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, where every purchase helps change lives.
The summer heat is here, and the best way to make sure you stay cool all season long is to give May Refrigeration a call. When your AC goes out or needs maintenance, May Refrigeration's technicians are trained and equipped to handle anything that comes their way. And don't forget, it's never a bad time to get your heating system checked, especially when you aren't using it. Give May Refrigeration a call today at 745-COLD. That's 745-COLD. So for quality customer service that you can count on every time, May Refrigeration, proudly serving the Auburn and Opelika area.
From the very beginning in 1907, Auburn Bank's mission has been to promote our community, see businesses flourish, and improve the livelihoods of local citizens. We have operated a simple and straightforward business model built on a foundation of sound business decisions and a caring response. Our local team stands ready to discuss your financial needs and goals. Auburn Bank, champions of you. Member FDIC. Online at auburnbank.com.
Are you looking to buy or sell land in the Southeast? Southeastern Land Group is here for you. With over 20 years of experience, we specialize in farms, ranches, timberland, hunting properties, and recreational land. Whether you're a seasoned investor or a first-time buyer, our expert team offers personalized service every step of the way. From listing to closing, we make the process simple and smooth. Ready to make your move? Visit selandgroup.com and find your perfect piece of land today. Southeastern Land Group, your trusted partner in land sales.
Weekdays from 6 a.m. until 10 a.m. Make sure you listen to the Weekday Rush with James Chandler on Tiger 95.9 FM and the Tiger Communications app.
Good morning, my neighbors!
You are listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn.
Now, it's time for your Atlanta Braves morning update, presented by Tidal Wave Auto Spa. Get clean car happy at any of the 250-plus Tidal Wave Auto Spa locations today.
Braves top the Marlins and take the series. I'm Barrett Salee, and this is your Braves Radio Network morning update.
Tidal Wave Auto Spa is the official car wash of the Atlanta Braves and your go-to car wash destination all season long. Visit TidalWaveAutoSpa.com to find a location nearest you.
Ho-hum, just another win for the Braves. They have won 7 in a row after topping the Miami Marlins 4-1. Austin Riley, another couple of hits, including an RBI, knocked in Ozzie Albies in the second. Drake Baldwin with 2 RBIs in the second as well. And Bryce Elder, one of the best performances of the season for Big Texas. He went 7 innings, only gave up 1 hit, 1 earned run, 2 walks, and 3 strikeouts en route to the win. He's now 8-6 on the season. Didier Fuentes, the 4-out save. He struck out 2. That is his second save of the season. All around, a great night at the old ballpark. The Braves will look for the sweep coming up tonight. Jansen Junk on the mound for the Marlins. Martin Perez going for the Braves. He's 7-6, has a 3.24 ERA. And if you remember last time out, took a no-hitter into the 7th, and he wasn't even supposed to pitch that night. For leadoff show coming your way at 6:05 Central, and first pitch between the Braves and the Marlins, 7:15, 6:15 Central time right here on the Braves Radio Network.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn. Since 1995, Alabama's sports talk leader, Tiger Communications, proudly presents Sports Call. It's time to join our Sports Call crew as they discuss the latest headlines and happenings around Auburn and the entire sports world. To be part of the show, give us a call at 334-887-3401 locally or toll free at 1-888-9-TIGER-9. We're taking phone calls all show long and want to talk about whatever you've got on your mind. And now, coming to you live from the loveliest village on the plains, Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show, Sports Call.
Second hour of Sports Call beginning right now. Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Brooks Childress, and Jack Myrick with you here this afternoon. Again, also streaming live on YouTube and Facebook, so check out the program there. And, of course, if you can't watch or listen to it live, listen to the Sports Call podcast presented by Coca-Cola, available after each and every show. All right, so before we get to the Joel Gordon audio, want to update you on a very big series that was announced in the college football world. I believe it was yesterday, might have been Tuesday, but the return of Southern Cal and Notre Dame. They are going to play starting in 2030 at Southern Cal and run it through 2033, which will be in South Bend. Now, this did a couple of things. One, it gave us a really quality football matchup again, another great rivalry and something that has been off and on, but I don't see why it can't happen, even in the era of 9-game conference slates. You know, Southern Cal still, I mean, I know it's not a Big Ten rule, but I feel everyone should play a Power 4 team out of conference. So Southern Cal has the capacity to do that, and choosing to do that with their foe Notre Dame. Now, what it also does, though, is Southern Cal ripped up a contract with Indiana to do this. And the Indiana non-conference schedule, guys, is disgusting. I mean, I don't know if you've looked at this thing for the next 6 years or so on FBS schedules. It's disgusting. Here is their non-conference schedule now beyond this year, which you already know is North Texas, Howard, and Western Kentucky, really straining themselves there. 2027, it's Kennesaw State, Indiana State, and UMass. I mean, you're really scraping the barrel.
At least you're getting a rivalry in there.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's what I think of Indiana and Indiana State
Well,
football.
I mean, Purdue's already told us that if you don't want to win championships,
Yeah,
go
that's
to
right.
Indiana.
Yeah,
right.
go to Indiana if you
All timer from the Purdue AD. Good luck not giving up 70 this year. 2028, Austin P, Eastern Michigan, Miami of Ohio. 2029, Ball State, Eastern Illinois, Western Kentucky. 2030, Indiana State and Delaware. 2031, they don't have anyone scheduled. 2032, UConn at UConn. UConn is probably the best team I just said in 6 seasons, which is just atrocious. And look, I am not anti-Indiana, okay? I think Kurt Cignetti's cool. I think what they did last year is cool. They deserve to be celebrated. But they're not infallible. And they have warts just like we all do. And one of their warts is that they just do not schedule anybody out of conference. And they're going to be very brash in telling you they will not schedule anyone out of conference because of some fake thing that Kurt Cignetti was touting last year at Media Days, where he said, well, we're going to be like the SEC and just play nobody out of conference. Dude, always has the SEC during this time period been playing at least one Power 4 team. I guess he was griping about 8 conference games plus the 9th being a Power 4. Well, now the SEC's joined you, bud. So now you're about the only relevant team that is not playing someone big out of conference. So I think that's very regrettable. And I'm already telling you now, I've pre-baked in a criticism. I'm filing it away. I will put it in the oven whenever Indiana loses their next playoff game, especially if it's their first round playoff game. I'm going to say, well, would have been nice to have a P4 game and non-conference to show us that you were going to do this against them, or get ready in that way. Again, the Big Ten conference is great. Again, a lot of great competition there, but I think you got to have data points out of the league. So, I like Indiana, but they're getting this wrong. They should not be doing this.
And they're the commissioner of the Big Ten said at Media Days that they weren't in any rush to alter their non-conference scheduling format until they know more stuff about what the future playoffs going to look like. So they're still, even though the SEC has gotten to that point where they are doing 9 plus a G5, G4, not G, P4, P5. They're still, well, we're just going to sit here. And, to your point, Ryan, I think that it's, here's the thing. It is an issue, but it's also a non-issue until you start losing these big important games. Because as long as Indiana and as long as a Big Ten team keeps winning a national championships, they've won 3 in a row now. As long as they keep winning national championships, it's like, well, why do we need to do it? Because we're still winning these big games. We're still winning the national championships. So at that point, you can make that argument that it's a non-issue. But once you start losing those big games again, once you start not winning national championships again, that's when it really becomes the bigger issue. It's like, well, maybe if you were more well prepared by playing a Power 4 team, you would, you'd have these experiences rather than just going out and knocking around Maryland and Rutgers and Northwestern and all the lowdowns of the Big Ten. It's you'd be more well prepared. The SEC is going out there, and if you even if it's not the first part of the year, it's not that first section of games. At the end of the year, you've got Georgia. It plays Georgia Tech every single year. Georgia Tech's a good football program again. Kentucky plays Louisville. South Carolina plays Clemson. Florida plays Florida State. So that you already have built-in P5 games, P4 games. And on top of that, though, there's some of these teams are still going out and scheduling big-time games. Florida went out and scheduled Miami. They went out and said, we're going to play Miami. We're still going to play Florida State at the end of the year. We're going to do the gauntlet here. And so it's, you've still got these built in. So it's, like I said, it's an issue because you touted for years that we're going to do it until the SEC gets it, goes in the same spot or gets to the same point we are. And like, all right, we did it. And we're going a step further as we're requiring another big time non-conference game. Like, oh, well, actually we're just going to wait and see what happens with this playoff thing. So it's a little bit of not holding up your end of the bargain, I guess there, but also as long as you're winning national championships, I guess it's a non-issue. But as soon as that first team, as soon as an ACC, an SEC, a Big 12 team wins the national title, and the Big 10 team doesn't get it done, and you look at their non-conference schedule and say it's Indiana, say it's let's take LSU in Indiana, right? Say they play for a national title this year. LSU wins. LSU went and scheduled Clemson. They played Clemson early in the year. What did y'all do? Nothing? All right, cool. That's when it becomes the real big issue to say, you get on the bus. All right. Everybody else is here. get on the bus and let's go.
Yeah, it's definitely going to cause issues for them to try to get in. And right now, I think Kirk Zanetti will help them in that matter as long as they can stay, in winning form. Just as we mentioned with, your national championship coach, you kind of get that little prestige too. But at the end of the day, though, there's still going to be factors, as you mentioned, Brooks, where it's like a team, let's say, if they do have a year where they're kind of trying to, in that playoff bubble, trying to get in, and they need, a good resume. North Texas, Howard, Western Kentucky is not going to cut it. It's just not. And it's not the same North Texas team they had last year where it looked, pretty good, but still, it's still North Texas. And that's just going to become an issue. And that's just the new way of football nowadays. Like, these programs have to decide, really strategically on who they schedule in these non-conferences, because it matters. It really matters to show at the end of the year, to have on your resume, if you are, 10-2, trying to get in the playoffs, trying to make a case, say, hey, this is why I deserve to be, in. And then if you have, teams like that, it doesn't help at all.
It does not. And again, they will get, some of the benefit of the doubt from their preseason ranking. Tom and I were talking about this yesterday. We feel it should not matter where you are ranked in the preseason, but we think it ultimately does, because there's pre-baked perceptions that do alter how you start to rank teams as you get a few weeks into the season. And, Indiana preseason number 6. So they, already are assumed to be a certain way. If they go 10-2 and lose their top 2 games, well, then there's no Power 4, non-conference game to add to the data set. But again, they may not need that because of where they got put in the preseason. Whereas a 10-2 Nebraska team that's not ranked to start the season, although they have we were looking up their schedule yesterday as a very formidable schedule. If they went 10-2, same league, where would that shake them out compared to Indiana, who's preseason 6? So it could be an issue. And again, I just think it's better for the sport as a whole if every power conference team is playing another power conference team at a conference, so that you have some sort of relative point to go off of. The other thing here is that, with Notre Dame, because their schedule is obviously all what they can create it to be. And, people looked at this year's schedule, and a lot of people like Notre Dame to at least be 11-1 this year. And I mean, one of the best bets to be in the playoffs, because when you look at it this year, Wisconsin, Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, North Carolina, Stanford, all struggling programs. BYU is decent on the road, but Navy. Then they got Miami. That's a huge one. Boston College, host SMU at Syracuse. There's just not a lot of losable stuff on Notre Dame's schedule. And next year is somehow a little worse, I think, because they've got Purdue at Michigan State. They got Auburn, Kent State. They host Wake Forest at Clemson. So there's something. Host Virginia Tech, host Navy at Stanford, host BYU, host Georgia Tech at Duke. There's a world if Auburn does not pick it up. There could be one ranked team on there all year. There could be as high as 3, but it's a pretty piddly schedule, to be quite frank with you. So you look down the line at what they're trying to do, and you say, okay, they're making a little better faith attempt when they go ahead and schedule someone like Southern Cal, for example, in 2031, even, we'll go ahead and say. They've already got, they got Southern Cal now, they got the at Clemson, they got Florida scheduled that year. They do have Miami. And of course, these teams can always change. 2030, they have Alabama because they've got them scheduled in 29, 2030. So on top of that Southern Cal game, again, they have so many games baked in with the ACC rotation. So, some of that you just can't help. That's what is rotated from the league. Like 2030. 3, they've got Boston College and Pitt and Virginia Tech, and that's kind of all underwhelming. But then, Clemson and Louisville, maybe. I don't know. It's 7 years from now. So to be fair, there's going to be a lot of ups and downs between now and then. But, Notre Dame's schedule is always worth watching because of the nature of theirs. And the new implement, or I guess it's new implemented rule, but it was agreed upon the year before last, where if they're in the top 12, they're automatically in now. So they're just looking for a magic number, which again I don't agree with. It's just Notre Dame's done a really successful job of holding out to what they have traditionally done and being unbothered by the pressures around them. They're going to be them. In my opinion, I understand it from their point of view. They should be doing that. It makes them unlikable in my eyes, though. And obviously with the not playing in the bowl game last year, I wish something could happen to force their hand a little bit more than it has been currently forced, because they really are being a very special case completely. But, they have done a great job of maneuvering it to where they have not succumbed to any pressure from anybody on making them change, and now ultimately have a preconceived notion that if they're top 12, does not matter how the other teams shake out, they should be in despite not being in a conference. It's pretty mind-blowing, honestly.
It helps that you've got your own network because nobody else does. There's no other team that commands one single network, because it's NBC is Notre Dame and then one Big Ten, one or two Big Ten games a week. But it's Notre Dame. Alabama doesn't have their own. Alabama's not on ABC every single week. Auburn's not on, ESPN, big ESPN every single week.
I wonder where they rank in TV ratings for the years now.
Ooh, that'd be good.
Because there's no way they're number one. They're not number one. When you look at the week by week, like they never have a top 5 game of the year. Those are like exclusively Alabama playing Georgia, Ohio State playing Michigan, Ohio State playing Oregon, LSU playing Alabama, that, and the other thing. And maybe they don't wane as far down when they play a Miami of Ohio or somebody because they still get the network of NBC. But I mean, their high end stuff is not as watched as the other high end stuff around the country.
You look at things and you can go more in depth. You Google and the AI that pops up says they typically average between 2.3 and 4.8 million viewers per game on NBC, depending on obviously the matchup. So like
that's a bit of a wide range.
The USCs of the world, the Ohio States of the world, if you play them, they're going up toward the top.
Sure.
But yeah,
They're going to be tuning in the Rice game on September 12th?
Heck yeah. That's probably a Peacock game because they do like one game on Peacock every single year. But it's fun. Here's the thing is they have done, they've done a job of maneuvering around. They've also done a job here with this deal with the ACC, the rotational thing, which you mentioned they can't really control who they play in that every single year because it's rotated in. But they've also, I'll say this in their credit, they've done a good job of minimizing the non-power teams that they play. Because it used to be, they used to play three or four, MAC teams or whatever. Now, you look at this year, they got Rice and they've got Navy, and Navy is a traditional rivalry. Everyone else is a Power 4 conference. I think that's you look for on their schedule. That's about how it is. You get, your traditional rivalry with Navy there most years, and then one a MAC or American or a CUSA team. And then they're starting to really mix in these big time games with, you mentioned the Auburn game coming up, the Alabamas, the USCs. They had the Ohio State a couple years ago. Michigan's been on the schedule in recent memory. You mentioned the USC game. I would love to see that Notre Dame Michigan game come back on a regular basis. That's a fun rivalry there. They've done a decent job of maneuvering that schedule. I don't think that they should have that clause where it's top 12 and you're automatically in because it's sub because if you've got conference champions and whatever and different stuff, but and I do not like that they opted out of their bowl game because you threw a fit, but they've at least adapted a little bit with some of their scheduling.
The only thing though is Brooks is that they played you said group of 6 teams. Okay, SEC and Big Ten do too. So, but now they're playing, Wake Forest and Stanford and Georgia Tech and all at Duke. I mean, again, very average, or that's the 2027 schedule. But, this year, again, as I went through it, Wisconsin could be firing their coach sooner rather than later. Michigan State in a horrible place, one of their worst places they've been in a long, long time. Purdue, awful place. North Carolina, awful place. Stanford, not good at all. BYU's good. Miami's good. Boston College, awful place. SMU, decent place. Syracuse, awful place. So, even if you're an ACC team, you are probably playing a more difficult schedule than that because you would play Miami.
Yeah.
But then instead of Michigan State and Purdue, you might be playing Louisville and whoever, and that might give you something it's in other words, their schedule is comparable to the worst Power 4 teams in the country, whoever, again, Big 12 or ACC. And so in future years they will be doing better because they will have Texas on there and Alabama game and that sort of stuff. And that will be better. But again, it will maybe then elevate them from, instead of ACC, Big 12 light to, okay, a really good Big 12 schedule, a really good ACC schedule. It ain't going to be an SEC or Big 10 schedule because they're only playing one or two really good teams when the others are playing those same 2 or 3 teams in the top 10 and still playing a bunch of other top 25 schools. So,
I would also like to know when these games are set up too, because that goes into it, because you could schedule a Power 4 team years out. We know
you can, but you also rip up contracts.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that's all right.
But you just like to see, because right now Auburn's got Miami on the schedule in what, 3 years. What if they fall back off? And then it's we're looking at it and you're like, well, you scheduled, and even Auburn scheduled it before they got good.
Yeah.
So it's you could schedule, you scheduled that before they even got back to the point. And once you get to it, let's say it's the opposite. Now you look at that game. You looked at that game a few years ago and you're like, okay, that's fun. Two nice college football brands playing each other. But Auburn had been, Miami had been. Well, now you look at it and you're like, man, if Golish has this team on the rise and Cristobal keeps that series, or keeps this wave going, that's a huge game. Big game.
Yeah, and I understand that point, but also what do you realistically think is going to be with Purdue in several years? what realistically is going to be? I get Michigan State was stable for a long time. Yeah, not that. Yeah,
they're winning championships.
They're winning championships.
Setting the standard.
A lot of these teams have been down for a long time. It's not like you caught Texas on the Charlie Strong Texas year, and then that's super unlucky. We can all admit Notre Dame is getting a good deal in this situation. And that's what also made me so upset at them last year for being whiny babies, because they are already in their special, rub your tush place in college football right now, where they have their own rule. They literally have their own rule. Does UConn have that rule? Is UConn get to be in the playoff if they're top 12 because they're independent? No, they don't. They literally do not. It's just Notre Dame. And it doesn't matter how impractical it would be that UConn would be in the top 12. They're an independent team. So you should say all independents get that rule. But no, Notre Dame's the one that has that rule. So I think it's frustration, because it's you're just operating in your own space. And again, I'm not mad at them for doing that. They don't owe anybody anything. That's not the point. Everyone negotiates for their own best benefit. But again, I'm not going to give them credit for being adept at that when it does put them in rare air and a special situation. I don't have to like that they're in a special situation. So again, that's why we look at this year, and I think that them and Georgia, but probably them most likely to make playoff, because how do they do worse than 10-2? The schedule says there's no way they do worse than 10-2, and then they're already preseasonally high ranked and this, that, and the other thing. So, if you have your betting apps, go over there, put them in the playoffs,
hit the over, pound the over.
All right, we need to take a timeout here. When we come back, we will get you that audio from Joel Gordon, Auburn offense coordinator Joel Gordon, earlier this week as fall practice is underway here on the Plains. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Sports Call is on the air weekdays from 3 until 6 p.m.
I read a book about this sort of thing once. Are you sure it was a book? Are you sure it wasn't nothing? Oh, yeah.
We're Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show.
Weather brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. Looking for the best credit card rate in town? The rate on Auburn University Credit Union's MasterCard starts at 7.9% APR. That's right, 7.9% APR. For more information or to apply, visit one of their 3 locations or myaucu.org. Annual percentage rate. Auburn University Credit Union is an equal opportunity lender.
Highs today will make it to right around the 90-degree mark. We will see plentiful sunshine early. Scattered showers and thunderstorms entering the area in the afternoon hours. About 40% of the area seeing some rain. Those will drop into the low 70s. Much of the same for Friday with a bit smaller coverage area of those afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Highs again around the 90-degree mark. About a quarter of the area seeing some precipitation and lows into the low 70s. I'm Ryan Lavoie for your Tiger Communications weather update.
On Saturdays, we all wear orange and blue, but every day, Auburn University Credit Union is proud to serve the people who make this community strong. Whether you're opening your first account, buying your first car, planning for your future, or growing your business, we're here for every chapter because at Auburn University Credit Union, you're more than a customer. You're a member. You're an owner. Your family. Auburn University Credit Union, rooted in Auburn, committed to you. To learn more, visit myaucu.org. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Opportunity Lender. NMLS number 530633.
Whether it's enjoying a night in with good friends and close family or having some fun in the great outdoors, don't forget to grab an ice cold Coca-Cola from one of your 17 local TK's convenience stores. Every sip of an ice cold refreshing Coke helps make whatever you are doing memorable. With a variety of options to choose from, TK's has a Coke for every occasion. So don't forget to stop by any one of your local 17 TK stores today and pick up an ice cold Coca-Cola.
At Mid-South Bank, we're your problem solver and financial advisor. Managing your money can be challenging. The good news is you don't have to go it alone. You have a friend in us. No matter what your financial status, we're here to help you do what's best for you. Come in today at 519 East Glen Avenue or visit bankmidsouth.com to find out what the friendliest, most helpful bank in town can do for you. Equal housing lender, member FDIC. TK's convenience stores have a brand new look. That's right. Look for the red, white, and blue. It's Arco, American-owned top-tier gasoline, now at select TK's locations. Need great gas at a great price? TK's and Arco have you covered with the best price gas in town. American-made fuel for you and your family. So roll into your neighborhood TK's today, where TK's and Arco are as American as apple pie.
When it comes to your roof, trust your local roofers. At Superior Roofing, we're more than a roofing company. We're your neighbors. For over 40 years, homeowners across Columbus, Auburn, Opelika, and surrounding areas have relied on our experience, craftsmanship, and commitment to treating every customer like family. Whether you need a repair, replacement, or inspection, we'll help you find the right solution for your home and budget. Superior Roofing, protecting what matters most, one roof at a time. Call Superior Roofing at 334-821-8411.
Follow Sports Call on Twitter at SportsCallAU. Like us on Facebook at SportsCallAU.
Your first question was about the run game.
How close are you to the other aspects of the pass?
Gotcha. We're going to find out a whole lot more tomorrow, than practicing and training, all through the summer. And that's not real football. So, when we line up against the defense and figure out, what that looks like again, tomorrow, we'll have a much better feeling of where we are. But I think what you're able to see over the course of the summertime is guys are a lot more comfortable. They understand the offense more and more every single week, and we pushed them pretty good, all the way through the summer, probably more so than we have in years past, in this offense. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for guys to show what they did over the summertime, but I think there's definitely been some growth in that room. The first guy that stands out is, Chaz. He's the most experienced guy in the room. He's one of the most physically gifted guys in the room. He's one of the smartest guys in the room. So I think when you add all of that up, you hope that guy is standing out, every single day. And I think he did that throughout the summertime. And there's other guys too that have had really good summers that we're excited to see, what it looks like starting tomorrow.
Justin Ferguson, Auburn Observer. AG was in here just a second ago saying you want to have 3.5 running backs heading into a game and for like rotation wise. What does that kind of mean to you, and kind of how do you feel about the depth and just is what y'all want to go into the season with?
I'd say we want a whole number 4, not 3.5. But no, I mean, you know what he means. Like, you got to have the next man up and ready to go, and I think everybody knows that Cobb is the guy that's coming back in that room that has proven, he's a really good football player and was really consistent in this program a year ago. And after that, there's a lot of question marks, to be honest with you. So I think what we saw from that room throughout the summertime, much like the wide receivers, is everybody's improving and everybody's getting better. But I think the reality is, until we get out there and, those guys got to run the football and try to create explosive plays, and they got to step up and pass protect, we're not really going to know exactly, what the pecking order is. But there's been guys that have been consistent, throughout the summer. Omar has been, since we walked in the door here, Omar Mabson has been as consistent as anybody on our side of the ball. He loves Auburn. He works his butt off. That's physically, that's mentally. He's a great teammate. He's a leader, for us. And he's gotten better, even though we're not playing against, anybody, throughout the summertime. You can see that he's getting faster, he's getting smoother. And I think it's just a nature of, it's another exposure to reps in this offense. And guys, as long as they're working at it, man, they're going to get better. But those two guys had really good summers. Not that they're the only two. There's guys, man, there's 2 or 3 more guys that are going to be battling in that room that have done, good things throughout the summer as well. That real football is going to kind of paint the picture of, what that looks like. We're going to know a whole lot more in about 5 days.
Nathan King, Auburn 247. AG was telling us about Ty Buster's injury. Obviously, that makes Stanton Ramil's return all the more important. What have you seen from Stanton going all the way back to the spring with his recovery? And AG's talked a lot about the leader he's tried to be for this offense in the offseason.
Yeah, it was for me personally, I didn't know Stanton, before coming here. So watching that guy go through rehab, it's hard to tell, exactly who you are. He attacked it. I think when he finally got to the point where he could come out on the field and go through stretch lines and then actually go through practice, you see a guy that's been waiting a long time to get out and play. So, man, he's fun to be around. He is loose. He has fun on the field. He's easy to communicate with. He's an older guy. He's been around, the college football experience for, a lot longer than some of our younger guys in that room. But you see a guy that's hungry to play, and I think anybody that's played college football and then you have to miss a whole spring, and he's had, some ups and downs with injuries as it is, throughout his career. He's been really exciting to be around. For me, I think the entire offense would agree. He's been a spark for us, just giving us some juice every single day that we're out there working out, and those guys in the weight room. He's just been a great addition, just to the culture of, who's on offense, and whether it's on the field, off the field, he's been really good.
Jason Caldwell, Auburn 247. Joel, how valuable is the true camp experience that you guys will have the next 2 weeks, where you go to hotel and you're together all the time? How valuable is that from a team building and from an offense building standpoint?
Yeah, it's invaluable. It's everything that we're going to try to create, in this training camp. It's going to create adversity, and it's going to create opportunities to create great habits, become a better disciplined football player on and off the field, become a more disciplined, guy in the nutrition world, eating, staying hydrated. So it's like a microcosm of the season. That's how I kind of look at the spring. That's how I kind of look at fall camp. All the seasons building up to the season, you're trying to test the players and push them as much as you can and see what they're going to do to react, when adversity hits. And a lot of that's going to be on the field. Some of it's going to be in a meeting room, right here, watching yourself make a mistake, in front of your peers. But it's also invaluable for those guys to spend time with each other. They're living in homes and apartments and everything else right now. And to actually bring those guys together for what seems like it's going to be one of the shorter camps that I've been a part of, at least until school starts. It's invaluable for our growth as a football program, as a culture, how we work together. Man, it's awesome. It's one of the best parts of the year is training camp. So I think our guys are really excited too. So I'm looking forward to it.
Joel, Justin Hoganson, Auburn on 3 Sports. Do you have a pecking order at the tight end position right now, whether it's reliability or whatever it might be? And what specifically do you want to see from a Boardingham and Eccles and Newsome during fall camp to push ahead of the other guy?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And I think the short answer is we feel like we've got multiple guys in that room that can help us win football games. And I think that room is, you can go from Jake to Arliss to Eccles to Tree, man, down the line to DJ Broughton. All these guys have different skill sets. And for us, we got to figure out, man, what are they best at and how to pair, them being on the field, whether it's just one on the field, whether it's 2 on the field, whether it's 3 on the field, how to figure out what they do the best. Because the thing that stinks is a lot of them weren't completely healthy through the spring. And that was really hard. You don't know exactly what you got again. So that room is really exciting because I think there's a wide variety of skill sets, but you don't know because you haven't seen them line up and play real football yet. Arliss, man, he pulls hamstring second day of camp, and then you don't get to see him until later, in the spring. So same with Hunter Herring. That's one of I'm excited about the competition that's going to happen at every position, but I think that group is just, the dynamic is really unique there. But I think that the guy that's going to have to lead the way from day one is Jake. He's got a ton of experience. He started college football games. He's played in 2, good football programs. He's been around a lot of different offenses. He is a leader, on our side of the ball, and he's going to have to grow. But everybody in that room is kind of, they're watching him. He's really smart when it comes to understanding the game. He works really hard when he's on the football field. He strains at everything that he does. We're going to have to keep him healthy too. But that battle is going to be fun to watch, and not necessarily just a battle, but just kind of watching some of the strengths and their skill sets. Kind of, man, who shows up in the pass game, who can be a dog in the run game and figure out, man, who are the best 3 or 4 guys and be able to, man, get those guys and build on them. But I'm excited about that group.
Hey, Coach, Maya Kitchens with WSFA. I know you kind of touched on Jeremiah Cobb already, but I wanted to ask, what are some of those ways he's really stepped up his game and his leadership skills in this offseason?
I think, his comfort level, he's gotten more just comfortable with all of this. He's changed his body, on the physical side. He's 205, 206, 207, for the last 6 weeks of the summer. So that was something that Coach Porter challenged him, in the offseason, like, man, carried the ball a bunch last year, living somewhere, between 195 and 200 pounds, a lot for us in the spring. So not all the time are those challenges met, from a player with the right attitude and the commitment to go get it done. And he did it, and he went, above and beyond to do that. So I think that's a great sign for anybody. Like, man, when your position coach asks you to eat more, get stronger, change your body in the course of, 7 or 8 weeks, and you do that, that's a great sign. And I think the other thing is he's Cobb is he's a quiet, he's not a loud dude. And I think maybe when we walked in the door, I don't know, maybe everybody was expecting something different from this guy that, ran the ball for 1,000 yards in the SEC last year. But I think he's opened up a little bit more. He's come out of his shell a little bit more. You can see him interacting with his teammates a lot different right now than what it was even in April. And again, that's a step as a leader, and there's a bunch of different ways to lead. And he's found a way in his own role to do that. So hopefully that answers your question.
We need a timeout. Sports Call will be back after this quick break. Weekdays from noon until 3 p.m. Join Tilly the Elder Emo for Flashback Lunch and all your favorite alternative rock in the afternoon. Only on Tiger 95.9 and on the Tiger Communications app.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
Looking for a new fitness home? Look no further than Tiger Iron Gym in Auburn. Our fitness area spans over 20,000 square feet, providing ample space for all your workout needs. Featuring an AstroTurf training area, an extensive range of cardio equipment that will get your heart pumping, and we are one of the largest 24-hour free weight gyms in America. Worried about parking? Don't. We have you covered with tons of parking spaces so you can focus on your workout. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to fit your busy schedule. Plus, we're locally owned and operated, not some big corporate gym. And you can experience all of this for just $29.99 a month with no contract. Join us today and take charge of your fitness goals. Tiger Iron Gym, South College Street in Auburn.
You remember the burgers, you remember the buns, you even remember the ice, but you forgot the beer? Rookie mistake. Save the cookout by showing up with Blue Moon Belgian White. Its crisp, refreshing taste with Valencia orange peel and that iconic orange garnish turns an oops into an awesome. Because when the beer's this good, people tend to forget what you forgot in the first place. Blue Moon Belgian White, made brighter. Please enjoy responsibly.
I'm Trevon Reed, former Auburn Tiger football player, national champion. You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Welcome back. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call, Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Brooks Childress, and Jack Myrick with you here on this Thursday afternoon. Now I've got Connor Knight in studio running the stream for us, so you can watch the show on YouTube and on Facebook. Another thing that would be worthwhile, and maybe this is not the best time of year for it, but watch our reactions to watching something live in the studio. That is going to help us a little bit when it comes to those watch parties / listen parties we would have when Auburn basketball would play in the SEC tournament sometimes or NCAA tournament during our show. Because I'm sure I made a face earlier because someone made a really long putt and I just kind of mouth dropped while you were talking, Brooks. And now you can kind of see us react to something, but you don't know what it is that we're reacting to.
Yeah,
That's the only thing.
You have to sync up your TV with whatever we're watching, but we're not going to tell you what we're watching. You just got to figure it out.
Right. And then it's got to be on some sort of delay because you're hearing us on a delay.
That's true.
So it's not live in the moment technically, and streaming can be 30, 40 seconds behind what is live time. And oh, by the way, we're streaming whatever we're watching. So that's 30 or 40 seconds behind. So theoretically,
there's so many variables.
Yeah, if you're watching it live, you'd be like a minute plus ahead of what is actually you are hearing in that moment. So that's a little bit of Inception type deal for you. But again, we've been watching the Wyndham Championship here. It would have been fun to watch us during the World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
There were some great goals. And Connor one time, I think he was running the board on a Wednesday, and I can't even see him because he's behind me. But Connor was just like, just up and down and not making noise, doing a great job of that. No one's screaming in the studio, but you certainly can have some fun. So we're in the more mundane cycle of that right now, but it will get more spicy in here.
Something else that throws a wrench into it is, we're watching something, if something's on and there's something going on, let's say I'm talking and, the other two guys or other one guy or three guys in the studio react to it and you see it, but then I'm continuing to go with my thought. After I'm done with my thought, then you'll see me do like a fist pump or something after the fact. So then I'll be able to react to it, and not distract myself. Then you got to guess, was that him reacting or is that something else going on? They just weren't paying attention.
Fair enough.
There's a lot of variables.
I remember last year, Boise State in South Florida was a 4:00 game on the Thursday because there's bunch of games on Thursday usually of the main full week. And I remember there was a Byron Brown play, go figure, that he made, one of those intense runs he made throughout last year. And I remember reacting like a mouth drop moment. And it was a little bit of foreshadowing as it came to be.
I think one of my favorite things that I could play along with is, behind Ryan can't see it because he's facing us, but like the screen that we see, that what you see if you're streaming it, can see is behind him. So I can see what's going on. So if I turn my head different ways to talk to people, you know what orientation that is. But say Jack's talking right now, we're in a 3-box. I could do this, and when Jack's talking, I could just listen to him and just stare up at him, and then Ryan, I could turn, instead of looking directly at him, I could turn and Ryan just reacted to a putt. I had to turn and agree with Ryan to my left, but he's to my front. It's like, man, I'm talking to him on the
You really throw the viewer off. I'm upset because Koivu missed like a 4-footer for birdie.
Last hole.
A very, very short putt that lipped out, had to take his par. So 3 under 67 for Koivu, which again, if I ever shoot a 67 in my life and I say a negative word about that of the round, you slap me so hard. You know, as someone still never broke 80, just slap me. But, you know, 3 under 67, I think it's just tie 36th right now or tie 34th. And I did see the latest projection. He's still projected 71st, which he would miss it by 1. So that's the kind of frustration he's alluding to is, you know, these are decent rounds, but they are not protecting his FedEx Cup standing. And I think that completes day 1 for the most part. They got, I think the last groups are on 15 right now. So they got, you know, maybe a few more minutes of coverage. But again, bunch of red numbers up there, and meaning not just the scores, but a bunch of guys that would not qualify for the FedEx Cup playoffs unless they win this tournament. And those are what you want to avoid. You want a big name to win this and to do well. You do not want, who is that guy? That's not good. Nope. That would not be good for Jackson's FedEx Cup standing. All right. So we got about a minute left here in the second hour of the program. Coming up, 5 o'clock hour. I don't think we'll get to the DJ Durkin audio today. That will maybe be tomorrow. We're also expecting to be able to pre-record an interview tomorrow with James Armstrong, the head coach of Auburn soccer. We'll definitely be airing that tomorrow. So be on the listen out for that. But coming up in hour number 3 today, we'll be on to number 11 in the preseason SEC media poll. That is the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Now you can see me hit the microphone.
Right. You can see who did it. You know, it happens every now and then.
You hear the microphone, you see Brooks is
Now you
again.
know.
It was Brooks that time. It'll
me.
be me, and another time we'll all take our turns. Unfortunately, it just happens. But again, South Carolina preview coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
2 hours of Sports Call are finished. Don't touch that radio dial. We've got 1 more hour to go.
Looking for a new fitness home? Look no further than Tiger Iron Gym in Auburn. Our fitness area spans over 20,000 square feet, providing ample space for all your workout needs. Featuring an AstroTurf training area, an extensive range of cardio equipment that will get your heart pumping, and we are one of the largest 24-hour free weight gyms in America. Worried about parking? Don't. We have you covered with tons of parking spaces so you can focus on your workout. And we are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year to fit your busy schedule. Plus, we're locally owned and operated, not some big corporate gym. And you can experience all of this for just $29.99 a month with no contract. Join us today and take charge of your fitness goals. Tiger Iron Gym, South College Street in Auburn.
Hey everybody, this is Brandon Maxwell with Fairway Auto Brokers. Back to school deals are here and you deserve a new ride. With over 150 of the finest pre-owned vehicles in stock, we make car buying fun and easy for the whole family. As Lee County's #1 place to buy a pre-owned vehicle, come see why Fairway is the difference. Visit us at www.fab-auto.com or stop by today at 1777 East Glen Avenue in Auburn, Alabama.
Looking for great deals while supporting a great cause? Visit Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, conveniently located on East University behind Zaxby's. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 5 with a huge selection of furniture, clothing for the whole family, books, home decor, and so much more. Have items to donate? We'll gladly accept donations at the back of the store from 10 until 4. Shop, donate, and make a difference at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, where every purchase helps change lives.
The summer heat is here, and the best way to make sure you stay cool all season long is to give May Refrigeration a call. When your AC goes out or needs maintenance, May Refrigeration's technicians are trained and equipped to handle anything that comes their way. And don't forget, it's never a bad time to get your heating system checked, especially when you aren't using it. Give May Refrigeration a call today at 745-COLD. That's 745-COLD. So for quality customer service that you can count on every time, May Refrigeration, proudly serving the Auburn and Opelika area.
Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory is here for you when you need us. With locations in Lee, Chambers, and Tallapoosa counties, serving the people of East Alabama and West Georgia since 1900. A family-owned and operated business, skip the hassle of the big corporate mortuaries. Our kind, compassionate team members are standing by to assist your family in the hardest of times. An on-site crematory, private cemetery, and a choice of facilities makes Frederick Dean unique. Visit us at frederickdean.com.
When the game is on the line, heroes rise, and off the field, real heroes deserve their moment too. Game Day for Heroes is all about giving back, providing unforgettable game day experiences to the brave men and women who've served our great nation. It's more than just tickets. It's about saving lives, restoring families, building tomorrow, and honoring our heroes. You can help make a difference. For more information or to donate tickets, visit GameDayForHeroes.org. Game Day for Heroes, because those who serve deserve a game day they'll never forget.
Hey folks, dinner time just got a whole lot easier. Swing by Waldo's Chicken and Beer on South College Street and grab the family meal deal. We're talking a whole bucket of bird, plus those famous cheesy biscuits, fresh coleslaw, and 2 sides. Go creamy mac and cheese, collards, potato wedges, whatever feeds your flock. And hey, make it a Thursday thing. It's kids' night at Waldo's. Bring the family, hang on the patio, play a little golden tea, while the grown-ups kick back with a frozen Waldo Rita. Good food, happy kids, and a little time to relax. What more could you ask for? Waldo's Chicken and Beer, South College Street in Auburn.
Every day we power homes and businesses in our communities, but we also power something else. Bright futures for our youth. We visit classrooms to speak on topics ranging from career opportunities to leadership skills. And we help make college possible by providing scholarships to deserving students. Bright futures are ahead, and we help make it happen. Brought to you by Tallapoosa River Electric Cooperative.
TK's Convenience Stores, your gotta-have headquarters. You know, those things you just gotta have, but don't have time to waste in one of those huge pack stores. Nope, at TK's, we have your gotta-have items with no hassle, along with great customer service, high-quality items, and clean stores. So whether you need a 6-pack of your favorite beverage, milk, gasoline, or some cash from the ATM, TK's has it just minutes from you. TK's Convenience Stores, now with 17 locations to better serve you. Always there when you need us.
Whether it's enjoying a night in with good friends and close family or having some fun in the great outdoors, don't forget to grab an ice-cold Coca-Cola from one of your 17 local TK's convenience stores. Every sip of an ice-cold, refreshing Coke helps make whatever you are doing memorable. With a variety of options to choose from, TK's has a Coke for every occasion. So stop by any one of your local 17 TK's convenience stores today and pick up an ice-cold Coca-Cola. TK's convenience stores, always there when you need us.
Memories are priceless. That mom's trip you've been talking about, flights, hotel, concert tickets, not so much. But that's where Max Credit Union comes in. Whether it's a weekend getaway with friends, front row concert tickets, or finally taking that trip without the kids in tow, Max has lending tools to help make it happen. Go make the memories. We got the rest. Max Credit Union. Certain restrictions apply for qualified borrowers.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn.
This is the Tiger Communications Sports Report, brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. I'm Ryan Lavoie. Auburn Volleyball's 2026 non-conference slate has received an upgrade as the Southeastern Conference and Big Ten announced the inaugural Big Ten SEC Challenge. The Tigers will match up against Minnesota on Wednesday, September 2nd, and Wisconsin on Thursday, September 3rd. Both matches will be played inside UW Fieldhouse in Madison, Wisconsin. All 18 Big Ten schools and all 16 SEC institutions
will match up the week of September 1st, culminating with 2 matches at Wrigley Field on Sunday, September 6th. The Atlanta Braves have sent catcher Joey Bart to the Chicago White Sox in a trade prior to Monday's deadline. In return, the White Sox sent right-handed pitcher Duncan David, who was designated for assignment following Sunday's game. Prior to being designated, David had posted a 4.50 earned run average for the White Sox in 2 appearances for the big league club this season. And in another move, the Braves and Red Sox announced a swap of right-handed Tyler Uberstein for outfielder Eli White. Uberstein has 1 major league appearance. He tossed 2 2/3 innings of 1-run ball with 2 strikeouts and a walk against San Diego on April the 5th. The 27-year-old righty has otherwise spent the season with AAA Worcester, missing most of the season due to shoulder soreness. He has turned in a 2.81 earned run average across 32 innings and a long relief role in AAA. Uberstein was optioned to AAA Gwinnett by the Braves. Atlanta wraps up their series with Miami Marlins tonight, and you can hear all the action on AM 1230 WAUD. I'm Ryan Lavoie, and this has been your Tiger Communications Sports Report, brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union.
Auburn University Credit Union has partnered with Care Humane Society for the AUCU CARES debit card. It's free to you, and each time you swipe the card, AUCU makes a donation on your behalf. It's a win-win. For more information, visit myaucu.org. AUCU is federally insured by the NCUA and an equal opportunity lender.
You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9 FM, WTGZ Tuskegee, Auburn. Whether you're leaving work, cruising around town, or listening on demand, we've still got some fun left for you. To be part of the show, give us a call at 334-887-3401 locally or toll free at 1-888-9-TIGER-9. Auburn's first and Auburn's favorite sports talk show has been on the air since 1995 and is ready for 60 more minutes of fun. Now, let's get this hour of Sports Call started.
Third and final hour of Sports Call beginning right now. Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Jack Myrick, and Brooks Childress with you here this afternoon. Also got Connor Knight in our Auburn Bank studios, who is helping run the stream for us. Again, many ways to listen and to watch our program, however you decide to do that. And you can listen after the fact on the Sports Call podcast presented by Coca-Cola. Here in the third and final hour, time to look into the SEC once again. We are up to number 11 on our SEC team previews. Number 11, the preseason SEC media poll, being the South Carolina Gamecocks. If you missed it, go check it out on the Sports Call podcast from yesterday. Auburn was number 12, so we did this style of preview. Obviously, we talk Auburn often, but we did it in this format yesterday for the Tigers. And also go to our X page at SportsCallAU to vote on what you think will become of the Gamecocks this year. We've got the poll up for how many wins South Carolina will have in 2026, which we'll get to a little bit later. But first things first, it was a very disappointing year in Columbia last season for South Carolina. 4-8 was the record for Shane Beamer's club after a wealth of expectations. I mean, they had won 9 games in 2024. They did have their bowl loss, so they were 9-3. I recall, I think they were 14, 15, 16, somewhere in there in the final top 12, or excuse me, the final college football playoff rankings of that season. They were a few spots removed from making the playoff, and so there were pretty lofty expectations last year. The expectation was to at least be that again, and maybe even whispers of, man, if Lenore Sellers does even more. He was just a freshman last year. Could we go to the playoff? That was a reasonable conversation to be had prior to the season. And then it was a unreasonably bad season for South Carolina. And that's why we put Shane Beamer as one of our hottest seats going into 2026.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at this SEC or the South Carolina squad. And you go into last year, like, as you mentioned, coming off of that season prior, pretty high expectations for the Gamecocks, and they did not live up to those expectations. You thought with a guy like Lenore Sellers coming back, they would be able to get some really, really positive energy flowing and get that season last year, and have a lot of have a very have a big time season. And you mentioned maybe being that playoffs from the SEC, maybe Lenore Sellers sniffing a Heisman last year, but neither of those came to fruition. And I think the encapsulation of what the South Carolina team was last year was that Texas A&M game toward the very end of the season, where you were up big at the half, and Shane Beamer went into the locker room pumping up the crowd, saying, let's go down in College Station, and then came back out the next half and laid a big old egg and lost that game by a point. So that's rough. And, that was the like I said, the encapsulation of that season. You lost a lot of games, and especially in that middle of the season. And listen, it wasn't an easy slate there in the middle with that LSU, Oklahoma, Alabama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, that losing area. What is that? All four of those teams were playoff teams last year. So it was a tough stretch, but the way you played some of those, and I'll tell you what, you go into some of those games, the way they played them the year before when they were really good. Heck, we expected them to have a really good fight against Bama last year. 2 years ago, they took them to the edge of beating them at Bryant-Denny Stadium. After last year, after that season, you saw them on the schedule again this last year, going to Williams-Brice. You're like, this is it. They could get them. They could get them this year. They scored what? They put up 22 but lost. I mean, it's just it's rough. They only put up 7 points against Oklahoma on the road or at home the week prior. It's just it was such a downfall from last year that, as you mentioned, Ryan, that's the reason that Shane Beamer's in one of the hottest seats in the country, probably the hottest seat in the conference this year. And they need a big turnaround. It's not, there's some teams that we've talked about this year that I could see coaches keeping their jobs, and we talked about it with at least marginal improvement, getting 1 or 2 more wins, getting, back to a bowl game for some teams and stuff. I think South Carolina's got to have some big improvement this year if they're, I don't know if, going from 4 wins to 6 wins saves Shane Beamer's job, even though you're getting back to a bowl game. It's just the way that they've been up and down. They want to get back to at least being a stable club. And if you're going up and down, it's just not, it doesn't feel like they're going to have much patience with that.
South Carolina is a big question mark for me this season, just because of the fact, around Beamer, what we saw they were capable of in 2024. They make the change this past season, get rid of Mike Shula, his offensive coordinator, bringing in Kendall Briles. So that has to work for Beamer, as you mentioned, with the hot seat. It just has to work for him, because if it doesn't, 5-win season, he's gone. 6-win season, he could possibly stay, but depends on, again, college football landscape has changed. The patience has changed on how people want to wait on these coaches, because it's a business nowadays. You're putting money into this. You want to win now. And especially if you see the talent of a roster, if you think that Lenore Sellers could have, been something more, then you might pull that trigger. But still, Shane Beamer, the expectations did bite him big time last year. They bit him pretty big time, where it wasn't similar, because I felt maybe it could be similar to how Missouri was a few years back, where Missouri had a, kind of a season they popped up, looked really good. Then the next season they didn't, do as well, but Drinkowitz still handled that roster, still managed that team to look, solid throughout the year. Played well, didn't win, some of the big time games that they maybe were favored in before years past, but that's kind of what happened in South Carolina, to the opposite, where it's just like they had the expectations, they had these, potential college football playoff, dark horse to get in, and it didn't work out. And then you add the fact of a Heisman candidate and Lenore Sellers, it just adds to the weight that is on Shane Beamer's shoulders going into that year, and it just completely fell apart. So this year, if I was Shane Beamer and wanted to keep my job, I would kind of, hope and pray, be like, hey guys, 8 wins. Let's just, pray for something like that. But when you get up to the expectations of 1, a Heisman candidate, 2, college football playoff, it just gets heavier and heavier, and you have to succeed then.
And there's very little he can do this year to actually make people feel, I think, substantively better, because they've been on this roller coaster already multiple times. After 5 years, he's 33-30 at South Carolina, so it's been essentially a 500 coach. And they had an 8-win team back in 2022 and went back to 5, and then they found Lenore Sellers and thought this was for real and won 9 games, and then they went back to 4 last year. So even if they win 8 games this year, it is enough for him to get another year, but it's not enough for him to survive another 4 or 5 win valley, I would think. And they've got to be frustrated over that. And Brooks, you pointed out the schedule part of it, which again, there was no doubt about that. What that became was as tough as any schedule in the country, but they still did not acquit themselves well at several different points, including only scoring 7 against Vanderbilt in week number 3. And we know what Vanderbilt ended up being, but 7 points against them is a tough sell. You mentioned the 7 against Oklahoma, great defense. But again, with who you have at quarterback, tough sell with their offense, which dropped 8 points a game last year. They were over 30 points a game in 2024, down to 22.5 last season. Defense was still solid. 22 points a game is a reasonably good defense. So, again, adjudicating last season, their defense was still good enough to put them in position. Their offense was, I'm not going to mince words, one of the most disappointing offenses in the country. And I think in some ways it was as disappointing or more disappointing than even Auburn's offense. And I know that sounds weird to say, but Auburn was hoping Jackson Arnold would be the guy out of high school that he was thought to be. South Carolina was pretty confident Lenore Sellers, after having a great freshman season, they would have a really solid, really good offense. That was anything but. And so coming into this year, looking at the roster situation, again, Lenore Sellers back, so that's where you start. You start that quarterback position. It's so weird to look down and see he only threw for 13 touchdowns last year. He combined for less than 20. Again, out of the guy, that we thought would be in All-American conversations, or at least could be. Such a stagnant offense. Now, again, he's got great ability, and I still believe that there's a lot to be gotten out of him. You guys mentioned, Kendall Briles coming in, and I think that he is still a really good offensive mind, far better than Mike Shula. And I think that that's reasonably, it's cautious optimism is fair. And then, you look around, brought back a decent amount of defense. We were talking about that a couple of days ago with Vanderbilt too, like respectable amounts of defense being brought back, and including Dylan Stewart, who I think is tremendous. He was voted as one of the all-SEC guys up front. They did lose Brian Thomas Jr., but Dylan Stewart's a great place to start when building a defense. So they've got some stuff. There's not any one point of their team that I think is just destined to be terrible. But, obviously they don't recruit at 5-star level, and, they'll have some depth issues. They'll have a few places that could be improved. But I think roster-wise, they're set up to give themselves a chance.
And I'll add on one more thing. When you look back at last year's schedule being ultimately disappointing, is these last few years, this has been South Carolina's time to finally get some on Clemson. For years, especially in the 2010s, it was Clemson was going to playoffs, going to national championships, and South Carolina could not even sniff them. These last few years, South Carolina went to Clemson last year, got 2 years ago, got the win, but this is the time, much like we've talked about with Auburn and Alabama, trying to get some on Alabama now that they've come down from the Nick Saban high. This is the point in time where South Carolina fans are looking for this to start beating Clemson on a regular basis. And when you go in at home last year and you lose by 2 scores, that doesn't help you out either. To add on to that disappointment from last year. But the one thing that I would be concerned about, there's several things, but one big thing that I would be concerned about for the South Carolina team is their offensive line. You look back at it, it feels like there's one returning starter, everybody else is a transfer in, And we've talked about that it's just you need those guys to gel, and they could very much go in and gel and be a great offensive line, but you're throwing them all together. We talked about it at SEC Media Days, and especially I think it was Cole Kulick we talked about it with, where it's difficult to pull so many offensive line guys in from the portal and have them gel and have them play together in one season. You really need them to be a cohesive unit, and especially when you're trying to protect a quarterback and give Lenore Sellers, a quarterback like Lenore Sellers, time to make plays either in the pocket or with his legs. You've got to be able to protect them. That would be my biggest concern right now for them this year, is making sure that offensive line gels as quickly as possible here in fall camp. And I worked on it in spring, but gel as quickly as possible and make sure that they can protect them. It's the same problem that Auburn has had for years of making sure that offensive line can protect your quarterback.
Yeah, I think Sellers was the most sacked quarterback last year with 42 sacks. Not great.
Yeah, you got to work on that offensive line. Because, again, Lenoris is not a statue back there. I mean, he is one of the most mobile dudes in college football. And, you're right, Jack. If you look at the raw rushing totals, this would be a good way to look at it. So when you look at these stats, sometimes they break them down: gain, lost, and net. Okay. He gained 628 yards on his positive rush attempts. He lost, though, 358 yards for a net of just 270. And so obviously that can be, you can have a few like design runs that lost yards, but that's a ton of sacks. I mean, that's 350-ish yards of lost yards and sack yards and that sort of thing.
Jackson Arnold was third with 30. 2 less games.
So 12. Okay, well, yeah, 2 less games, to be fair. So he would projected out probably in the mid-30s, but that still would have been 5 to 7 less
and
than what
you take away that
Sellers
Oklahoma game too. If you just let's say made that a little bit more realistic.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So that's clearly an emphasis point that they're going to have to change. Also, really do like Nick Harbor though at wide receiver, one of the fastest dudes in the league, and obviously accrued a lot of votes for all SEC teams. So again, they've got some stuff, but can Shane Beamer actually put together? Let's grab a phone call before we take our next break of the program. 334-887-3401 locally or toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9.
Anthony from Auburn.
Anthony joins us. Anthony, how are you doing today?
I'm good. And you guys?
Doing all right.
Lately we've been talking about what some teams, how many games they may or may not win, coming up with what, we think might happen. We talked about y'all saying that Auburn 8-4 would be a good year for y'all, a big turnaround. You believe you could do that with the schedule y'all got and the offense that this guy is bringing in. But I want to ask y'all, what do y'all think Alabama's going to do under the third year of Kalen DeBoer?
So I have kind of still been around 10 wins for them. I think that, with what Keelan Russell, I think he'll win the quarterback job over Austin Mack, but again, we'll make sure here in a few weeks. But he's highly touted. I think he's going to be very mobile. I think he's going to be able to extend plays. I think Alabama's defense will be really good. Their secondary, especially, got 3 all SEC guys back there, and still got some other stuff at the other levels of the defense. So, they've got that stretch where they're going to have Georgia and Tennessee and A&M and LSU, and that's going to kind of be the stretch of decision on their season. So I think that they'll take a loss or 2 in that. But, they also have given Georgia a lot of hell over the years, and that has not changed with DeBoer in there. And, they have been able to win these big games. So I still think they're hovering around 10 wins.
10-win regular season. And then going to the playoffs, then, right?
Yeah,
Did you get out early this time, or get embarrassed and get kicked out early, or might make another game or so?
I don't think they'd get beat as bad as Indiana beat them last year. I think that, to be fair, they did win a playoff game first, beating Oklahoma. So, I still think something along those lines. I don't see them as a national title threat this year. I think, again, 10-2, definitely a playoff team there, somewhere around the 8-9 spot. So, could win that first round game, but would probably expect them out in the quarterfinals.
Well, how about the conference title in Atlanta? Do they play for it, or
I voted
that ain't in the equation this time either?
I voted them third, so I had them missing it, but they could. Again, if they beat Georgia, that would be a heck of a tiebreaker against a team that would be up there. So, That's possible.
Well, the reason I'm saying that, I was sitting here and watching, ESPN or whatnot, and this guy called in, and he said, I'm going to tell you something. I think I've even mentioned this on the show with y'all, that I thought that, that Caleb DeBoer was kind of maybe an upgrade from Bill Curry. This guy said the same thing, that he thought it was an upgrade from Bill Curry, that have a flashy offense that spreads the ball around to everybody, that can get their hands on it or whatnot, but not going to be somebody that's going to win your national title or anything or anything beyond that, and that probably won't be around in Tuscaloosa much longer, that time is running out, that not going to be able to deliver. So I'm pretty much kind of think the same thing, because, I mean, he was handed, pretty much when he first got there, top-notch everything.
Sure.
Plenty of money, plenty of talent. Even though he's beaten Auburn the first 2 years and beat Georgia a regular season here or there, whatnot, lost in the championship game, and pretty much still winning the games that they should win. But yet there's no championship goal anywhere to be seen. And some people think it's not going to happen this year or next year either.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, look, I definitely see the comparison because, I mean, as you said, Curry, did have the 10-win season was his best year. And, DeBoer has 10 last year. And, I think that, ultimately, I think that we're maybe talking fit with him because, like, I think the guy's a pretty good coach. You don't just take Washington to the national championship game by accident, I feel. And, he's done okay in some regards. But when you have all the things that you mentioned, like Saban left them, then, I mean, the expectations are going to be, through the roof. And they deserve to be when you have that kind of resource and that kind of tradition. So, it's always a funny thing because, they still have a year where they win a playoff game and 80% of the programs, 90% of the programs even would have loved that. But, I mean, you're right. If they never win the SEC championship, if they don't go to a national championship game, play for a national championship or win one down the road, then it's really hard to say that it's a success at the end of the day. It just wouldn't be.
Yeah, I just tell you, like you say, he's a good guy, and that was no accident taking Washington to the final game and playing it for championship gold. But the thing is, he ain't under the kind of pressure. When he's at Washington, he went under that kind of pressure there.
Sure.
Right? Nobody even expected that out of Pac-10 or Pac-12, whatever they were. But Washington didn't make it that far. Even though Washington has, if I'm mistaken, they won a title back in 90, didn't they? And they split one, shared one with Georgia Tech or somebody?
I have to double check which year, but yeah, I think
sometime in the 90s anyway. They shared with somebody.
Yeah.
Because I think the year they won, they might have had a big old offensive lineman that was the first pick in the draft that year, I believe. I can't think of the guy's name, but
1991.
Okay, that's what I thought. They won in that. Let's see. I think they played that bowl guy in Arizona. I can't think of the name of it. But anyway, they won it or whatnot. But I don't know. I tell you, he's gonna have to win at least conference title this year. I would like to see him do that much. And then maybe build off of that and move on in the next year. Let's see. Don't Thompson got a quarterback going to be coming out in 2028 or is it 2027?
7, I think. Trent Seaborn. Yeah, he's about finally done it. Thompson. I've been hearing his name since 8th grade. Really 7th grade, honestly. But yeah, Trent Seaborn.
So he'll be able to sign in 2027, right? Seaborn.
Yeah, class of 2027.
Yep.
And he's projected to go to Alabama, right?
Yeah, no, he's committed. Now, to be fair, I think he is a 4-star.
4-star.
Yeah, 4-star. So he's not as highly rated as what Keelan Russell is about to theoretically win the job right now. But yeah, he's a good, solid prospect.
I was going to say Keelan Russell, if I recall, I think 247 had him as the
Number
highest
1.
of Alabama's recruiting classes of all time.
Okay. So yeah, he's a big deal.
As far as this guy's physical stats, how tall is it? What is his weight? If y'all have an idea?
Seaborn or Russell?
Or Seaborn.
6'1", 200 is what he's listed on his recruiting profile.
Okay, so you got to be red-shirted and put him in the weight room, put some beef on him. I think probably give him at least 220 before he can be ready to play. When you think 215 anyway.
Yeah, they'll add a few pounds there. I would assume with the college program there. But
we know this kid is highly talented, that he got an appetite for winning. He's proven that in the junior high school, playing on a high school team.
Yep.
So he can't help but to get better if he stays focused. He appears to be focused on everything. He appears to be well grounded. But I don't know. I don't know if Kalen DeBoer is going to have. I mean, I think in the next 2 or 3 years, man, probably going to be gone. I think he probably got 3 more years after this year to go ahead and get that championship gold there. If not, then I would highly doubt if he can stick around any longer. And I don't think that athletic record is going to be able to stay around much longer either if no gold is coming this way.
Yeah, because I know they signed that extension, which again obviously is a bit symbolic in some ways. I know that DeBoer was being eyed by Michigan and other places last offseason, obviously. So part of that's there, but yeah, I think that I would think that Alabama's administration is cautiously optimistic right now, and that would resort itself to saying that the leash would not be incredibly long. Because I mean, honestly, Anthony, as you know, if all it would take is if he has like an 8-4 this year, then oh boy, I mean he'll be lucky to get past next season. So I mean it could turn quickly.
Well, this guy on ESPN said that he thought this year would be 6-6 or either 7-5. And he named the games that he thought they would lose. He didn't see no way of beating Georgia, Tennessee, LSU, and he said some games that they might slip up with could be a Kentucky game, a Vandy game, or Auburn game. He believed one of those games will be lost.
Yeah, I have my doubts, but obviously there's always every side of the equation there.
I want to tell y'all something I didn't want to tell y'all yesterday. I really wasn't worried that much about the money. I was worried about him. He get them guys isolated and get them on the right page. You never know what can happen this year. They might mess around and do some things. They might mess around and find a way to play 60 minutes and upset a lot of people.
Man, I hope so. We the losing seasons, man. It's just something more positive again. Tom had Auburn at 8, and I had him at 7. Which again, that's not the ultimate goal, but I mean that's a better season you've had in 5 or 6 seasons. So whatever you need to do to try to at least accomplish that.
I mean, it sounds like he's doing all the right things. It sounds like he's saying all the right things and doing all the right things. When you're talking about taking a team and take them somewhere and get them away from everybody, we've mentioned that on the show years before he even got there, by going to the junction and getting people isolated and getting their mind on them for football and doing whatever you got to do. And it seems like he's doing the stuff that we've talked about and joked about and laughed about.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, he's doing. I mean, again, for not having played a game, which obviously is the end all be all, but he's setting it up the way you need to set it up, in our opinions. You got to do certain things and have a certain mindset, and he appears to have the right mindset on him. But obviously, we've got to see that proof of concept.
And I listened to the interview again, and he said the players bought into it, that they liked the idea. That makes it even more dangerous. You know that?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, if they embrace it, yeah. Yep.
I mean, man, I tell you. Guys, I appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.
You too, Anthony. Appreciate it. That is Anthony from Auburn joining us on the Sports Call phone line. Yeah. Again, I know, Die Hard Die mentioned it earlier too. I mean, we only see snippets of it on social media. I mean, obviously the media does get the viewing windows early in practice. Again, I think they're reporting something similar, so I don't want to say it's just put on social media. Everyone puts their very best on social media most of the time. But yeah, I mean, the feeling in the locker room or outside the locker room is that this 2-week period is being embraced, and very important to try to build this team chemistry. There's again a lot of losses in previous years that unfortunately, a lot of these guys are not familiar with, as they were not a part of them. But even the guys that were, that maybe were quality players that are trying to say, no, this is not who I want to be. We want to be winners, and we want to improve and do a better job. Again, I think that these guys are kind of locked in on it, and hopefully having a great practice periods here the next couple of weeks as they try to focus on all things football there. All right, let's take another timeout of the program. Appreciate that phone call. On the other side of the break, we will give you the ceiling and floor for South Carolina in 2026. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Sports Call has been on the air since 1995.
Weather brought to you by Auburn University Credit Union. Tiger Rewards checking at Auburn University Credit Union gives you the tools to manage your credit, monitor for fraud, telehealth services, loan discounts, and more. Visit myaucu.org for more details. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Highs today will make it to right around the 90-degree mark. We will see plentiful sunshine early. Scattered showers and thunderstorms entering the area in the afternoon hours. About 40% of the area seeing some rain. Lows will drop into the low 70s. Much of the same for Friday with a bit smaller coverage area of those afternoon showers and thunderstorms. Highs again around the 90-degree mark. About a quarter of the area seeing some precipitation and lows into the low 70s. I'm Ryan Lavoie for your Tiger Communications weather update.
Looking for great deals while supporting a great cause? Visit Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, conveniently located on East University behind Zaxby's. We're open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 until 5 with a huge selection of furniture, clothing for the whole family, books, home decor, and so much more. Have items to donate? We'll gladly accept donations at the back of the store from 10 until 4. Shop, donate, and make a difference at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store, where every purchase helps change lives.
Frederick Dean Funeral Home and Crematory is here for you when you need us. With locations in Lee, Chambers, and Tallapoosa counties, serving the people of East Alabama and West Georgia since 1900. A family-owned and operated business, skip the hassle of the big corporate mortuaries. Our kind, compassionate team members are standing by to assist your family in the hardest of times. An on-site crematory, private cemetery, and a choice of facilities makes Frederick Dean unique. Visit us at frederickdean.com.
TK's Convenience Stores are your one-stop shop from Auburn to the Lake and Tallahassee to Tuskegee. Offering friendly service and a clean environment, there is sure to be a TK's located near you. Stop by on your way to and from work or school and pick up everything you need, from beer, soft drinks, and fresh hot coffee to food, snacks, and ice cream. Plus, automotive and household products, pet food, and an ATM in every store. Just look for the orange and blue Starburst sign and stop by your local TK store today. TK's Convenience Stores, they're your one-stop shop.
365, 24/7. You'll find road and utility crews, tow truck, law enforcement, and first responders working along Alabama's roadway.
We're making improvements and helping our communities stay connected.
We're working hard to make sure you're safe on the road. Now we need your help to make sure we're safe too.
Alabama's move over law requires you to move over a lane when you see flashing lights on the roadside. And if you can't safely move over, please slow down.
Visit DriveSafeAlabama.org, brought to you by the Alabama Department of Transportation, Alabama Broadcasters Association, and this station.
From the very beginning in 1907, Auburn Bank's mission has been to promote our community, see businesses flourish, and improve the livelihoods of local citizens. We have operated a simple and straightforward business model built on a foundation of sound business decisions and a caring response. Our local team stands ready to discuss your financial needs and goals. Auburn Bank, champions of you. Member FDIC. Online at auburnbank.com.
I'm Deshaun Davis, former Auburn Tigers football player and all SEC linebacker. You're listening to Sports Call on Tiger 95.9.
Welcome back. This is the Thursday edition of Sports Call, Tiger 95.9, the Tiger.fm, and the Tiger Communications app. Ryan Lavoie, Jack Myrick, Brooks Childress with you here today. As we get into the latter portion of the program, again, we do want to finish our preview of South Carolina. I want to get to ceiling and floor and their expectations for 2026. Before we do that, though, let's squeeze in one more phone call, 334-887-3401 locally or toll-free 1-888-9-TIGER-9. Next up,
Ward Dam Steve.
Retired Ward Dam Steve joins us. Steve, how are you doing today?
Well, I was doing okay until I heard podcast, part of it anyway, from Mr. Tom Lavoie. Now, he's not there today, right?
Tom Peavy, yeah, not here today.
Tom Peavy. Yeah. Okay, so I got a bone to pick with him, and that is I can't believe that his floor for our season total is what? 3? Is that right? 3-9?
3-9. Yep.
Okay, so here's my bone. Now, I haven't heard your part, Ryan, so I hope you're a little bit better than that. The floor, to me, my logic says it shouldn't be any worse than 5. That's what it was last year.
Yeah, so my floor was 4 for the record. Again,
Hold on now.
This is
Ryan.
This is the work again, as we explained, and because I was even picking at Tom for 3, and as we were explaining again, this is if unthinkable things happen, basically, but
they happened last year.
Right, but then
into 3.
Sure, but okay, Auburn plays an extra conference game this year, so they get one less. They get one less opponent against a FCS or small conference team, and they make that an extra SEC game. What would they have done with that extra SEC game last year? They could have lost that. So, again, that's just the worst case scenario. That's not going to happen. That's not our prediction. It's just if all hell breaks loose type of prediction.
Okay, I'm still saying, come on, guys. The worst that can happen is what happened last year, and we have a different team. Completely different coaching staff. So I'm saying it can't be any worse than 5.
To be fair, Auburn has had a season that they've won 3 before. So,
that's not fair.
It was not fun for any of us, but it did occur, and it was very, very awful.
Okay, well, I know my time is up, but I about spit up whatever I was chewing at that time when I heard the season of 3-9, and then you're saying 4. Wow. Okay, guys, it's a good thing I'm not a Sports Call Auburn broadcaster because I'd have been. I'm throwing some spicy food at you.
Well, depending on how spicy, me and Tom would have eaten it because we like spicy food. But
I know I'm kicking up a notch until you guys start sweating, and I want to see some sweat on Tom's bald head. Okay, I can't do some more. But this just can't happen. If we 5-7, then somehow the gods, we have pissed him off, superbly, and we will be in the desert for years.
Yeah, well, it's already been some years, so let's not make it any more years.
Okay, well, I don't have too many more years left to be in the desert. So with that said, thank you for your time, guys. I know my time is way up. So until next time, which will be tomorrow, War Eagle, have a safe evening, guys.
War Eagle, you too, Steve. That is retired War Dam Steve joining us on the Sports Call phone line again. Yeah, just so everyone's very clear, that's not me or Tom thinking that they will win only 4 or 3 games. You'll see what we mean a second when we do ceiling and floor for South Carolina. I think Tom and I's disagreement, I think I just said, he was like, they could lose to Baylor and Mississippi State, and their only wins would be like Southern Miss, Arkansas, and Sanford. And I was like, well, I don't see them losing to both Baylor and Mississippi State, even in their worst year. I think they still get one of those because they beat Baylor last year, so that type of thing. So again, these are not all realistic. Some of these will not happen. I wonder how many times it ever got to anyone's worst case scenario last year. I mean,
South Carolina.
South Carolina, actually. That's a great segue. So let's look at the Gamecocks and their schedule in 2026. To open up with, I think, what for the world has to be 3-0. Kent State at home, Towson, and then Mississippi State. They then go to Alabama, host Kentucky, at Florida, bye week. That's a really palatable 6 before it gets much tougher. Host Tennessee out of the bye. Halloween at Oklahoma. November 7th, Texas A&M for homecoming. Again, I always say that because, again, I explain every time, we don't have the luxury of putting homecoming against a nobody anymore. It is not that way. So Texas A&M November the 7th. At Arkansas, the 14th of November. Georgia is their last conference game on the 21st. And, of course, their rival at Clemson on November 28th. Really is a tale of 2 halves of the schedule. In my opinion, guys, start with the floor, please. What is the floor of South Carolina this year?
Ooh. I mean, it could – I think it could probably I'd say 3 wins.
3-9.
Yeah, I think I'd go 3-9.
Would it be the first 3 essentially, or like the first 2 and then either Mississippi State and Kentucky?
Yeah,
as the third win.
I'd probably should say it'd be either
or Arkansas.
Yeah, I was gonna say Arkansas, because it's just if they do not figure that, because I think Mississippi State or Kentucky is going, because I have Arkansas as my lowest. They're just terrible.
Yes.
I think they're just in poverty right now. But it's just it's just in a spot where they cannot afford it, and it's tough. Shane Beamer, you may be in a certain line at the end of the season, but that's just 3 wins. That's all I could really see is probably the floor, unless things went really bad and let's say like Kent State pulls an upset week 1.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I think 3 is my floor too, because even last year when how bad they were, they still beat Kentucky. They still got one SEC win. And so you take away one of those non-conference games,
Clemson.
And
that one. Yeah.
But and you take away a non-conference game.
Oh yeah, you mean one of the
and so you take away one of those, and that would have been their 4th win. So I think their floor for me is 3 wins, because there's a realistic scenario, for in my mind at least, that Mississippi State comes out pretty hot early and they can beat South Carolina. I think it'd be one of the 3, either Mississippi State, Kentucky, or Arkansas getting one of those wins, and we saw them beat Kentucky last year.
I think they are better than all those teams. But that being said, again, the exercise is what's the worst thing that Shane Beamer could pull off, and 3-9 does feel like it is fathomable, if obviously not likely. But yeah, it's got to be there, because obviously in their worst season they lose to Clemson as they did last year. They've really kind of taken turns the last few tries. They've been splitting that series a little bit better more recently now that Clemson has declined. But again, last year Clemson got them. They beat Towson and Kent State, so there's the 2. And then, as you guys said, I mean, these are bad teams, are playing relatively speaking, but they if Lenoris is hurt, if they're firing Beamer after a Kentucky loss, which that's happened before, then okay, then only 3 wins. What's the ceiling?
Well, I don't think it's really that much prettier, because I was really debating between 7 to 6 wins. And I'm gonna be a little bit more positive. I'm gonna buy into Beamer ball, so I'm gonna say 7. I think that would be, obviously we mentioned the first 3. I think Kentucky, you get that. Let's just say things go well for them against Florida, and then Tennessee. If Tennessee's not really figuring things out, I'm gonna give that one to them. And then finally, Arkansas will be their last win of the season in my books. But yeah, 7.
I'm on that same line. I was going back and forth. I think my best case scenario for them is 7 wins, because I think it's the first 3. You get Kentucky, you get Arkansas. There's 5. If they are if they pick it up, and let's say Florida goes in to Auburn, loses that game, then goes and plays South Carolina, maybe be reeling after an Auburn loss, maybe get them. Maybe Tennessee's not as good out of the gate. You're at home off of a bye week. You get them. You have an extra week to prepare for that. You can pick them off, and say, as you mentioned just a moment ago, Ryan, it's been back and forth with Clemson. Last time they were at Memorial Stadium, they won, and it was Lenora Sellers at quarterback. So say Clemson once again does what they've done these last few years and has high expectations preseason, falls a little flat. You've got a shot in there. So I think 7 is my ceiling, that I could see a perfect storm going in, because some of those teams like Alabama, Georgia, Texas A&M, Oklahoma feels like they're a step too good to drop a game. And especially some of those where you've got to, you're going to Bryant Denny, going to Oklahoma. I feel like those are places that they may not be able to get a win this year.
So yeah, you guys are down on them. I think the ceiling's 8 wins, and I think there is pretty solid evidence of that because of the 2024 season. That's the same quarterback, same coach. That year they beat Oklahoma at Oklahoma 35-9. Now, granted, not John Mateer that year, it was Jackson Arnold. They beat Texas A&M 44-20 when A&M was number 10 at that point. That's what South Carolina's offense can be if they get the Kendall Briles and Lenora Sellers connection right. So when I look at it, it's a 3-0 start. That's a loss to Alabama. It's winning the next two because I do not subscribe to the Florida is invaluable opinion. They will be beatable. That could be a 5-1 start. If they're 5-1 off a bye at home against Tennessee, who does not know their quarterback, who I think is going to have a wide range of outcomes this year, that can be a 6-1 start before it starts to turn the other way for South Carolina. I don't think, and also Williams-Brice games, still on the per capita value, one of the toughest places to play. Again, it obviously does not hold 90,000, 100,000 people, and South Carolina is not always a tremendous team. But when I think of tough places to play, I think of how much does your home field add to whatever you are. It's not about you're an awesome team that never loses anywhere and then also happens not to lose at home. It's if you're a 6-6 team, or you're a 6-win team. Do you play like an 8 or 9 win team at home? Do you play like a 3-win team on the road? That sort of thing. And so I think they can be 6-1. Then I think a couple losses accrue at Oklahoma and then host A&M. Beat Arkansas to make it 7-3, lose to Georgia, and then the Clemson game. That's a great rivalry. And I mean, who the heck knows about Clemson? I know they put a cute little number beside their name the other day, and that's what we were talking about with the coaches poll. But Clemson went 7-6 last year. So that's not the type of team you can't beat. Again, the last 2 times South Carolina was at Clemson, they won. 2024, 17-14, 2022, 31-30. When Clemson was number 7, by the way, in 2022. So
I forgot about that 22 game.
Yeah, the road team has won at least 5 in a row in that series, I believe. So, yeah, so that has not meant anything recently. I just said, oh, yeah, home field matters. That rivalry, not so much. So I'll take 8 wins as their ceiling. Guys, what ultimately becomes of the Gamecocks, though, in 2026?
I just, going off 7 wins, I just think it's just a bowl game, probably finishes up. It'd be awesome to get to see him play Illinois again, though, and just get that at least, back, see if Beamer can get his, win back there. But yeah, I think it's just a bowl game. I don't know if they win it just because I think, again, SEC talent always seems to go to NFL draft very quickly. Kind of makes SEC teams kind of tough to play for them in bowl games where they're, less talent on that roster because guys like to opt into like, hey, I'm trying to focus on the draft. And
so you think 6-6?
I'm going with 7. So I'd probably go. So that'd be 7-6. So yeah, so I'd say they lose the bowl game. So that would be their final record.
So you think they achieve their ceiling then?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you can. I mean, you can be bullish on them.
As I said when we started this, they're kind of my biggest question mark, just because I know you're, like as you said, the ceiling is there where they could be 8-4. Brooks and I are a little bit more, not as big on it, but I just don't know because when you look at Lenore Sellers, he's kind of his completion percentage hasn't really been well last year. I kind of think of quarterback's such a mentality thing. You have a down year like that, it's pretty tough in college football to see bounce back years. It's not like years in pros where sometimes a guy kind of down year. But I just I'll be positive. I'll stay with 7-6. I'll be positive.
I think my thought on them ultimately becomes a 6-6. I think that they are I think they can beat those 3 SEC teams that they're ahead of in the preseason rankings with Mississippi State, Kentucky, Arkansas. And, Ryan, you mentioned it. I think that they can pull off one of these other, pull an upset somewhere else of a team that may not be picked to win because, as you mentioned, Williams-Brice is a great, great college football environment. I remember so many times when Muschamp was head coach or Spurrier was the head coach, and they were a fine program, and they'd be playing, say a Tennessee team that had some expectation, maybe a Kentucky team that had been doing well, and they were the Saturday night on SEC network game. And, you're watching whatever's on ABC or on ESPN, and then you look down at the scoreboard and say, what's going on in Williams-Brice? And then you flip over there and they're pulling off an upset. I think that could be something, a recipe we see again this year is that Shane Beamer does it. Now, here's the thing. Does 6-6 save Shane Beamer's job? I don't know. I don't know. But I think right now, if I was putting a number on, I think 6-6, get back to a bowl game for this the South Carolina team is where I think they're going to end up.
I mean, there was conversation last year for him to take another job. That there was that conversation of him just leaving on his own terms. It'd be interesting to see if, he does decide to, move on, but I don't think that would happen this year or so. But yeah, I just think that's interesting to see. You have last year, even though things weren't going well, there's still conversation of a team, hey, he could potentially leave to go, what was it, Virginia Tech, right? I think that's where he was.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting.
I've got him at 6 wins. I voted in the SEC preseason poll. They're obviously ahead of Auburn for what everyone said. I did vote them 12th, though. I kind of sniff a 3-6 SEC campaign, but a win against Clemson, because that thing has just been so wonky, and I have a bad feeling about Dabo and Clemson again. Again, we'll see on that, but I think they'll do just enough to make a bowl game. I think 6 wins, they should probably fire him. There's just not enough payoff for the merry-go-round that they've been on. Ultimately, these 8-win teams are good, and I guess they had the 9, but I just to have Lenore Sellers and to do no better than 500, and have the awful year you had last year, I think that would be a tough sell for South Carolina. And I think they got to be 4-2 to start. If they're worse than that, the questions, the noise is going to be too loud for them to beat a Tennessee. I'm assuming they do start 4-2 and then get Arkansas and Clemson. So, they really need a positive start. The tenor of their season would change dramatically if they lost to Mississippi State or Kentucky. All right, that's going to do it for us here today. That's our preview of South Carolina. Tomorrow on to number 10 in the SEC preseason media poll. Brooks Childress, thank you for being here today, sir. We will talk to you then.
I'll be here.
And Jack Myrick, thank you for being here today, sir. We will see you again next week.
Always a pleasure.
That does it for us here on this Thursday. As always, we appreciate all those that tuned in and called in, including on our stream on YouTube and Facebook. For Connor Knight running that stream and Jack Myrick and Brooks Childress, my name is Ryan Lavoie. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.
This fall, tune into savings at Jimmy's Car Stereo. With crisp autumn air and cozy drives ahead, make your rides even better with our top